gone. Face to face, the enemy is getting close with every beat. His heart is keeping time till the war. So lock it low and take a deep breath, 'cause when the fire brings hell, you're in the eye of the storm. It's game over. Time to put your weapons down. Game over. Left to fight
Jake Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, Tyvis Powell, Jason Lloyd. Plus, ba-da-da-da-da, you're loving him, Mikey McNuggets. And so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show starts now. Booyah!
Hey! Yeah! I'll tell you,
Oh, man.
we have a lot of interesting conversations on this show before the show. Like the 10 minutes before, 5 minutes, whatever. But in particular today, because when G. Bush is here or when Jay is here, those guys come in last second, usually.
Yes.
Right? Those guys consistently
As
get
the
in.
music is playing,
Right.
they're sitting down.
G's usually getting here at 10:57, and Jay gets here at 10:58.
Yeah, that's true.
But Tyvis is always here early.
First.
Jason's, hit or miss,
Yeah.
but he's often here early. And I usually get here around 10:30. So it's like the first time we did our pre-show 10:30 meeting in forever where everybody was here in person. There was nobody on the phone. So we're all here. And so our pre-show conversation, we had extra time for. And today, it was a new, we can't tell you anything. I'll say this one thing. There was a lot of discussion of bathroom habits. That's it. 7 men, there's 7 of us here, 7 men in bathroom habits. You would have either been horrified being in here for the last 10 minutes or laughed your ass off.
It's very relatable. It was all very, very relatable. And we was discussing top 3 worst feelings in the world, and everybody would agree that this feeling is the worst.
That's right. You would have all probably enjoyed the conversation, but we will not say it on air.
It'll be the last show.
No, we'll leave it there.
Do.
So a lot to get to, guys. Obviously, there's a report today about a potential new Brown Stadium site. We're going to get to that in a little bit. We're doing No Fence Riders later in the show, and Jake Trotter, Browns beat reporter for ESPN, will join us as well. Before we get into our first official topic of the day, though, and we will get to the Cavs a little longer later, but guys, has anybody done a bigger 180 than me in terms of the Cavaliers? I was like, not interested.
Bulls blowing up our phones with Cavs.
Bull talking about the Cavs are going to beat LeBron's best season record.
Well, no,
I was like, what?
Well, not that, because LeBron won
66
one year.
Oh, well, 57.
But the most games the Cavs have ever won without LeBron is 57. They've done that twice. In fact, even LeBron's 11 years, he's only won more than 57 twice. He had the 66 and then I think 62.
He stopped caring about the regular season
Right.
a long time ago.
Right.
Which is why.
But the Cavs could win 57 this year.
They're on pace for 55-ish,
Yeah.
55, 56.
And they've won, 15 of 16, I
They
believe?
won. Didn't they win 51 last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It
think
doesn't ultimately matter.
I think once they get towards the end, they're going to be like, yeah.
This week will be interesting, or the next couple of weeks, because they're playing a lot of bad teams coming up, and they've really played their least inspired games against bad teams of late, which is not, as you say, Jason, uncommon for good teams.
Yeah.
But when they started this winning streak, this winning stretch, it was mostly against crappy teams, and they were killing them. But they didn't kill the Pistons. They didn't kill the Wizards last night, who were both obviously really bad teams.
They play the Nets tonight, right?
They're playing the net. They're not playing. The Sixers are the only team in their next, I think, 7 or 8 games that is more than 3 games over 500.
And they look
obviously
bad.
they don't have Embiid, so they're not really a team over more than 3 games over 500 without
They
him.
just traded. Then they just traded for Buddy, right?
Buddy
just got
Hield.
Buddy
Yeah.
Hield.
So we'll see some trades today. Deadline's what time today?
3
o'clock.
Okay,
Shout
so
out to
there may be we'll see.
And Kobe Altman addresses the media at 3:30.
Yeah. So we'll see if the Cavs do something. It's probably going to be a small.
They ain't doing anything.
Not even like for a better 10th or 11th or 12th man in case of injury, like a small thing.
I think they would rather wait for the buyout market.
Okay, makes sense.
Just because they don't do anything today, if they don't do anything today, it doesn't mean that they're not going to do anything at all.
That's
like
true.
a whole buyout market is going to develop of veterans on bad teams
Yeah.
that don't get moved today.
Right.
And that will become available to them. So they still have, and if there's nothing there, then they could take that money and convert Craig Porter off his 2-way deal and give him a roster spot.
Right.
Why not? Why not Amani Bates?
He's already on the roster.
Yeah, technically. He's
Yeah.
just not going to play. But no, listen, the Cavs obviously are way deeper than last year. They
Yes,
have 10
they are.
legitimate players.
Yeah.
But still, you never know with injuries.
They have more than that. I'd count Tristan as a legitimate player.
Okay, so 11.
Yeah.
Well, if you could have a 12th or 13th guy that if you had to use him would be valuable, why not?
You don't know what Tristan's going to look like when he comes back from the
Right.
suspension. You don't know if the horse vitamins he was using or whatever it was that he was using, you know, if that's why he was able to play. You just don't know.
Horse vitamins.
They were. No, Jason's not wrong. They were not
It was
really
horse
horse
vitamins?
vitamins, but they were legitimate steroids.
Stole them from Mike's future niece.
Yes. Well, they're not. She's not using steroids on her horses, but if they
No,
were to
no,
steal
I'm
horse steroids, it would be from a horse show. and she would
By
be
the way,
horse.
how much last thing on the Cavs before we move on to the stadium, because this is potentially big news. How much are we buying into, Tyvus, you go first, the fact that Evan Mobley is coming back from injury, 5 of 6 from 3, we're buying into that? Big deal, small deal, no deal?
I wish Jason Crawford was on the set because I look him square in his eye and tell him, it's a big deal. What you mean? He's finally getting comfortable shooting threes. At first, he wasn't comfortable with it. Now he's going 100%. I think he's found his rhythm. And the most important part of it all is that he got the teammates trust him. And that's the biggest part. Like, they like, Evan open, get him the ball. And he's like, I know I can shoot it. I got the green light to shoot it. So I think his success over these last couple of games shooting the three at a high clip, well, not a high clip, 2 and 2 and 3 and 3.
That's a high clip.
I guess that is a high clip. That's big, and that's going to be something that they need to be successful if they want to make it deeper in the postseason. Him shooting, and as we discussed on Tuesday, Isaac Okoro shooting. If both of those two can contribute from the three-point line, that makes this team kind of unbeatable.
Jason, big deal, small deal, no deal?
What's bigger than big?
Massive.
Humongous.
Then that's what it is.
Really, that
Yes,
big? Only
it's
6
that
shots,
big.
but it's that big.
But it's giving him confidence to know
what I'm
that
saying.
he can do it.
Yeah.
I think he needed the confidence. He's been practicing for years. He's been practicing the shot. At some point, you got to shove him off the boat and see if he can swim.
Yeah.
And so far, he's figured it out. Now, 2 games doesn't mean it's going to continue, but it's certainly a good sign that he can do this. And when he can do this, it changes the entire complexion of that offense when Jared and Evan are playing next to each other. You can play them together so much more frequently on offense if Evan's going to hit those shots.
Yeah.
So it's a game changer as far as I'm concerned. He doesn't have to shoot 8, 9, 10 of them.
No, but
3.
if he can make 2 out of 3.
Yes.
He needs, he doing it enough that whoever's checking him is stepping up.
Yeah.
Like, I got to go out there.
And here's the thing. I talked about it. I think I talked about it when I was in earlier this week. Isaac Okoro, they're still going to leave him open in the playoff series. They want to make Isaac – they want Isaac to show them that he can make those. And if Isaac makes 2 or 3 in a postseason game, they're going to come out and guard him.
That's right.
If Evan makes 1 or 2 or 3
Huge.
in a postseason game, they're going to come out on him.
Last night, actually, Evan Mobley and Donovan Mitchell were the only ones that shot well. They actually shot pretty poorly besides those 2 guys. But anyway, go ahead, Mike.
We're going to do all the Cavs with an edition of No Fence Riders later, so we'll get to that. But we got this report we have to get to off the top. Before any of that, it is officially Super Bowl week, and FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, wants to wish everyone who celebrates a very happy Super Bowl Sunday. If you're like us, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seats on the couch, grabbing your favorite snacks, and placing some super bets. And FanDuel has a ton of different ways to help you end the season with not just 1 W, but 2 or 3 or hopefully even more. Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for which players will score touchdowns, how many points will be scored, and so much more, including my favorite prop bet, over 86.5 seconds on the national anthem. It's never been that short before. The over-under lowest, or I guess shortest, over-under in national anthem length history. Hammer the over on that one. New customers who join FanDuel today get $200 in bonus bets if their first bet of $5 or more wins. So visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to sign up. That's FanDuel.com/UCSS. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. And today's winning ticket comes from our guy, Akron Dre Day, who continues to pile up the money. He turned $5 into $775 with an alternate spread 5-part parlay. Cat over 25 points. DeRozan over 25 points. Vucevic over 20. Edwards over 35. And Kobe White over 20. All 5 of those hit.
Wow.
He
Over
turned
35.
$5 into $774.65. If you guys have winning FanDuel tickets, make sure you send it to us on Twitter or via email, and we'll continue to feature them throughout the show. And we expect to have a ton of winning Super Bowl tickets come Monday and through all of next week.
He is bold for 3 people over 25 points on the same team.
I know. And one over 35. Well, not on the same team, but one over 35.
He had somebody over 35?
He had Anthony Edwards over 35. By the way, Mike gets I'm in between a B and a B plus from Mike. It was a little slow start to that read. You get a tougher grading scale than Earl because you have a lot more experience.
Fair.
You really picked it up midway. I thought you brought it home strongly with good passion and energy. You were a little low on energy in the beginning of that read, though. I was a little disappointed by that.
Duly noted.
So there we go. We'll
I'll
go
be
B
better.
plus
I'll be better
on
for the second one.
You picked it up.
All
right. Let's get into the stadium stuff because
yes,
there's this Twitter handle, Northeast Ohio. Do we have the tweet? Northeast Ohio blog, whatever, land, I don't know what the hell.
It's NEOTrans Blog, Northeast Ohio Transportation
I don't know
blog.
who that is. But they often put stuff out about stadium things involving the Browns. They've been right sometimes, they've been wrong sometimes. But the reason we're bringing it up is because other people have information on this as well. Browns owners buying 176 acres in Brook Park. Airport adjacent site is under contract. Jason, speaking of adjacent, Jason is here. That's a stretch.
Close.
Jason, are you buying that they have bought, that this is true, and that this is specifically where they're going to put the new stadium?
It's true that they are close to an agreement.
Yeah.
It's not done. I already forgot what the tweet said, if it was done or not. But it's not done, but they're close to an agreement that would give them the right to purchase it. So that's true. It's a hammer in negotiations, right? I think the Browns have been frustrated by the city slow playing this. The city has not been as proactive at coming to the negotiating table as the Browns would like. So now they just went out and bought a really big hammer, or they're in the process of potentially buying a really big hammer that you can say, okay, well then we're just going to go over here. Now, there's still a lot of loops to close if you're going to try and build a new stadium on this land. But certainly obviously that's why they're buying it, right? That's why they're buying it. Now, you could buy that land, sit on it, and redevelop it into something else. Sure. You could. But obviously, this is right next to the practice facility.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. It's close to the stadium. It's a giant area. The thing that's interesting, I've actually been the last few days digging in on the stadium stuff.
Yeah.
And I was kind of zeroing in on the IX Center. That's where I thought
the other side of the...
I was on the wrong side.
Yeah.
So the interesting part about this land is there are, let's say that this gets done and the stadium's going here. There are FAA rules about height restrictions that close to the airport because of runways and everything else.
Sure.
So depending on where they put this thing, I was told, because when I was looking at the IX Center site, I was told they may have to put a significant portion of it underground because you have to keep it low for the runways.
Fascinating.
So that's just something to keep in mind. Now, maybe this plot of land is so big that they can shove it off somewhere where that doesn't apply.
Away from the stadium.
Right. If you can shove it off far enough away from the airport, maybe you don't have to do that.
Why doesn't that apply to the Burke Airport?
With the Brown Stadium?
Yeah.
That's a good question. Maybe because it's private planes and roller planes. I don't know. I don't have the answer to that.
Okay.
They take off the opposite direction, too. The runways, they take off that way. They land coming towards Brown Stadium.
Yeah, but still, you still have to fly over it. You still have to fly over. That's actually a good question. But I was told, FAA rules, they're going to have to, again, when I was looking at the IX Center site.
Right.
But this still applies to it because it's still right next to the airport.
And there's a whole project starting to build a new airport, essentially, where the airport is. What I don't understand is they've just recently redone the airport.
Yeah, but it needs a lot of help.
Why did they redo it if they're going to build a new one?
Well, I don't know. They're not really building a new one.
Oh, they're doing. I thought.
They're expanding it, I think, or they're renovating it.
Yeah,
but they're not. It's not like they're building a new airport somewhere. I mean,
not somewhere else, but I mean, I thought they were redoing the whole.
Well,
thing.
It needs redone because Hopkins Airport is terrible. compared to
Terrible. In what way?
It's
easy to get around there.
I mean, I can leave my house. I left my house 48 minutes before the plane took off.
Yeah, sure.
And still made the flight.
Exactly.
That part is
part's
That's
great.
the best part.
You never have to wait there.
But the inside amenities and stuff, it's not as good as some of the other
it's not
airports.
great, but-
So that's what I'm talking
All
about.
right. But so the interesting part, like we know billionaires that own these teams should pay for their whole stadiums lock, stock, and barrel. They should. In a perfect world, they would. In reality, most of them don't. I believe the Rams guy paid for his whole
Stan
stadium.
Kroenke.
I think he's the only one that has recently. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm not sure. Usually there is
Who
city,
paid for
state.
Vegas?
I don't know.
I think Vegas, I need to look at the financing on Vegas. I don't remember. Minnesota was half and half. Owners put up half.
Yeah.
The rest was publicly funded.
Right.
Atlanta, Arthur Blank put up, I think, half, close to half.
That seems like what usually happens. Now,
I think Buffalo's half and half too.
No, Buffalo got a ton of
even
public
more.
money.
Oh, more than
I don't
half
think
and
he's
half.
even paying half. of
Public
that guy,
or Buffalo got a ton of public
And
money.
they are putting the dome on there.
I don't think they are.
which is stupid.
That makes no sense to
Yeah,
me.
no.
Now, first of all, Jason, so I don't know if you know this answer. I don't know who knows this answer. I don't know if you can even prove this. So, to me, it seems like the first reaction is, oh my God, if they leave Cleveland, that's terrible for the city. And then I was thinking about it, and I was like, well, even though, obviously, the Browns are way more popular than the Guardians or the Cavs, it feels like those teams leaving would be worse because there's a lot more home dates.
Yes.
Now, obviously, the Browns leaving from a business standpoint, on those 8 or 9 or 10, if you include the preseason, maybe 11 or 12 potentially, those days, that's bad for businesses downtown. That's not good. I wonder, though, in the grand scheme of things, because now the city of Cleveland would not have to give any money for a new stadium if it's in Brook Park, where the city's going to be on the hook for, I would assume, at least some of the money.
The county still will.
The county still will, true, but not the city. So I don't know. Is there any way this is not terrible for Cleveland?
I don't think it's terrible for Cleveland, but I'm not going to
yeah.
pretend to be an expert on this stuff. But when I was looking at the IX Center site, the way it was described to me was there is zero economic impact surrounding
area.
it. Because if it's downtown, at least you have to park your car. You walk past restaurants and bars. You're going to stop. You're going to get a drink, something to eat, whatever. If it's out in the suburbs, or in this case by the airport, you're going to drive to the stadium. You're going to park your car. You're going to walk into the stadium. You're going to get back in your car, and you're going to leave.
Right.
Now, there's also a huge plot of land, and we don't know what they're going to build up around it. And Jimmy's going to own it all.
That's what
I
was
mean,
gonna say.
think about
Yeah.
this. You could do the Patriot Stadium is in like a giant shopping mall.
The
You could do something like that.
The Uber drop-off for the Patriot Stadium is in front of like Brugger's Bagels.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy.
Right. It's weird. I remember I went there not for a game. I actually went there for somebody's wedding, and we were happened to be staying in the hotel where the stadium was, and I was like, this is weird.
Yeah.
The stadium's in a shopping mall.
Foxborough
It's
is
strange.
50 minutes outside of Boston.
What's that?
It's 50 minutes outside of
Yeah,
Boston.
right. It's
There's
not in
nothing else in Foxborough
It's
besides
actually-
the stadium and what they built around it.
It's actually closer to fly into, what is it, Rhode Island?
New
I'm not
Hampshire,
sure.
right? Or Rhode Island.
We drove, so I don't know.
There's an airport, I can't remember now.
Yeah.
There's a different airport that's actually closer to Foxborough than
Right.
Boston.
Okay.
I thought it was Rhode Island, but maybe I'm wrong on that.
But either way, I mean, listen. I don't know. In some way, it does feel kind of sad if the team did move out of Cleveland. But if it were up to Jimmy Haslam, what do you think he would do if he had his druthers?
Use public funding and stay in Cleveland.
You think he'd rather stay in Cleveland in a perfect world?
I think he wants to do this. He wants to buy a big plot of land,
Yeah.
build a stadium, he's going to have to put in a significant portion. He'll get public funding for the rest, which is not an easy sell because these things are really expensive.
Yeah.
And then he can build up the area around it, shopping, hotels, restaurants, condos,
A Crocker
mixed
Park
use living
type of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And print money. I've been saying it for years, except I said 480 and 77.
Yeah.
I thought they
Right.
should go out to 480 and 77 and do
Yeah.
it. Build out there and print money. Well, he's
Yeah.
going to do it now. If this goes through, he's going to do it now right there. And I will say, I can't figure out like where this is in relation to the IX Center, but I still think that there's something.
I'm looking at it too, trying like, where
Director Steve says the IX Center is a little past where you can see on the left. So
Is it walking distance to this stuff?
Steve says no.
No. could you put a footbridge there? And the only reason I'm saying this, or like a tunnel,
it's the airport to me. I don't know, where is the airport?
But like
right behind it, right?
The airport's right across from the red area, so you're like going through an airport. There's no way you could walk from there if it's over to the left.
Okay, because the reason that Indianapolis is so good with the conventions and everything is because Lucas Oil Stadium is attached to their convention center. So that's why they can do so many different events. That's why I was just wondering if there's any way at all to connect this to the IX Center like they do in Indianapolis.
Probably.
And, I mean, Cleveland has a convention center downtown that has taken a lot of the events. I mean, the IX Center was closed for a couple of years.
Yeah.
But I just wonder if there's a way to refurbish the IX Center and to connect all this, tie all this together, because they are so close together. Indianapolis, they're connected. Like, you walk right from the convention center into Lucas Oil Stadium.
It is beautiful.
I
did the Big Ten Championship this year. I stayed at the hotel, walked right across the street.
There's not a lot over here. Like, they would need to build some restaurants and
he'll own it all.
And some hotels there. Because, you got that hotel at the airport, but there's not.
Well, I think they closed that.
Oh, is that closed?
Sheridan?
Yeah.
I believe that's
And, like,
closed.
the restaurants.
It's being torn down.
Yeah.
Generally, right by where the practice facility is, there's, like, no good restaurants there.
It's not. Not at all.
It's kind of crappy over there.
But they'll have the market on that whole area.
It's interesting. I hope it doesn't hurt Cleveland.
I wonder what they do with the old stadium. If this does go through, what happens to
couldn't that land be turned into condos or restaurants?
Well, I would imagine that's probably what they would do.
You could do
Knock
that.
it down and make it homes.
And the other part on all this is, and I don't think that these projects are connected. They're not. One is not reliant on the other. But the city of Cleveland has this push to bring women's soccer into the city. And in order to do that, they need a place to play. And they're not putting a women's soccer team that's going to draw 2,000 or 3,000 people probably at the start into a 70,000 seat stadium.
No.
So the idea is if Cleveland could get a 10,000 seat outdoor structure facility, it would be perfect for, you could do women's soccer. You could possibly bring a men's soccer team. Like the women's soccer team would be like the anchor tenant.
Yeah.
But you could bring state championship high school football playoffs to that. You could bring, St. Ignatius could play its home games there.
Are you saying
you could
that's
bring
what
the
they do at
Paralympics
the
there?
Old stadium?
No, I'm saying with the new, if they can build this new 10,000 seat
you're saying
facility.
If they stay downtown
Well,
instead.
no. I'm saying,
in addition to?
yeah, I'm saying these are like parallel tracks. You got the Brown Stadium track, and you've got this other facility track.
Yeah.
If you're going to bring a women's soccer team here, you got to have them play somewhere.
Sure.
And they're not going to put them in a 70,000 seat arena.
Right.
So there's just this.
So you saying that if the Browns do take the airport thing, the old stadium would get knocked down and rebuilt to 10,000?
It could be.
Oh, okay, I see.
It could be.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. Like it right there is a.
I mean, they got to do something with it.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
ain't gonna let it just sit
But
there.
somewhere they have to put this 10,000 seat if they're going to bring women's soccer here. And I was told you could build this thing for $60 million to $100 million, somewhere in there. It's not the $2 billion price tag that comes with the new football stadium. And you could, and David Gilbert does such a phenomenal job here in town with events and everything else. He could fill that thing all summer long. Concerts, comedians, St. Ignatius home football games.
Will they put a dome on it when they rebuild it?
That no.
Now we're talking about.
Hey,
Okay.
Can I cut you off for 1 sec?
Yeah.
We have a statement on this from the Browns. So I want to read this. This is from Peter John Baptiste, Jason's best friend. We've been clear on how complex future stadium planning can be. One certainty is our commitment to greatly improving our fan experience while also creating a transformative and lasting impact to benefit all of Northeast Ohio. We understand the magnitude of the opportunity with the stadium project, intent on driving more large-scale events to our region, and we are methodically looking at every possibility. We appreciate the collaborative process with the City of Cleveland and the leadership of Mayor Bibb in analyzing the land bridge and renovating the current stadium. At the same time, as part of our comprehensive planning efforts, we are also studying other potential stadium options in Northeast Ohio at various additional sites. There is still plenty of work to do and diligence to process before a long-term stadium solution is determined, and we'll share further updates at the appropriate time.
Listen, okay, so that certainly doesn't rule out
Very
anything
well
that's been
said,
discussed.
McNuggets.
A couple of
Thank
things. Yes, it'd be great for the Browns to have a new stadium. yes, I don't want taxpayers to have to pay for it. It is what it is. I do think most fans would like a new stadium.
Yeah.
Brown Stadium's crappy.
Yes.
It's a crappy stadium.
It was rushed.
Yeah.
It's I mean, this isn't important to most fans, but it's very important to corporate suite holders and ticket. You can't see the sight lines are terrible from some of the most expensive suites. You can't even see the scoreboard. You can't see punts, that sort of thing.
Right.
You know who else is like that? Ohio Stadium.
Oh, that thing's a relic.
No, they're not changing that. But here's the thing,
They have
Jason.
obstructed view all over the place.
There is going to be a new Brown Stadium at some point here.
I believe so.
Two questions I have for you.
Yeah.
One, will there be a roof? Two, if you had to guess what year that there is the Browns playing a new stadium, wherever it may be, if you had your best guess of the year.
When's the lease up? 28? If the lease is up in 28, it'll be 29. If the lease is up in
the year after the lease is up.
Year after the lease is up. And yes, I believe it'll have a roof.
Okay.
I've come around on that, by the way, because I didn't think it would.
Anti-roof?
I wasn't anti-roof. I didn't think it was going to be.
But now you're convinced it will.
That would defeat the. Well, first of all, with the quarterback that they have, they get in the roof.
Is he going to be here in 2029?
Yeah, I think so.
You think so?
I do.
Well,
I'm genuinely asking.
I mean,
even if he don't, the person that they replace him with will be like, "Thank you."
Yeah, right.
For all the small percentage of fans, you got to be tough or you got to be in the cold. Do you really want to sit there freezing your ass off in a game?
It's miserable.
Listen, I gotta. This is funny that you bring this up because I said that. I said, listen, as a player, I hated it.
Yeah.
Right?
I hated it.
Of course.
Like, I don't know why people.
There probably are
like,
some players that like it, but most.
No, everybody hates it.
Okay.
I don't know. You got to go out there and put this persona on like it's fine and you don't care. But yeah, you hate playing in that because it affects the way that you play. It affects your mind. It's a lot. And everybody's, be tough-minded. No. Yeah. You want a good show. People come pay their money to come watch you have a great game.
Yeah.
I don't want to see you slipping and sliding all over the place. No, that's not so put the roof on it.
Yeah.
It helps with TV sales. It helps with fans, older, younger fans, everybody continue to come throughout the season because they know that they don't have to freeze.
That's right.
It works for everybody.
And you could have.
Make sure you use natural grass.
And you could have more events.
Natural grass.
Concerts and stuff like
natural grass is all I get.
Should be natural grass.
Natural grass.
Agreed.
That's it.
But, I mean, if you could get a retractable roof, brand new stadium with all these fancy schmancy amenities that all these new stadiums have.
You got to pay for it.
That would be great.
You got to figure out a way to pay for it.
Yeah. Well, Jimmy's got plenty of money.
He'll have to put up half
minimum
of it.
50%.
It would be at least $2 billion.
Shit. How much is this stocking up with the Bucks?
That price never came out. I think we reported around like $400 million, and I was told that wasn't accurate, but I never did see what the accurate number was. But remember, he just sold Pilot to Warren Buffett, so he's got.
Is that finished now? I thought there was
I think it's done.
they were fighting over the evaluation.
No, I think it's done.
Okay.
It's not a coincidence that all of a sudden he sells and boop, they got a new land
How much?
spot.
Do we know how much he sold that for?
No,
$2 billion.
That was a private company. Pilot was private.
Are you
wasn't
serious,
it?
or are you just joking?
I'm just joking. How much you need for the stadium?
Yeah,
$2 billion.
I think Pilot was private. I think, but I'm not positive.
I mean, Jimmy should pay the whole thing. He won't. The state will be on the hook.
But there are different revenue streams you can look at. You can look at gambling, which I've been a proponent of since they passed it. I don't want to misspeak the numbers, but when they first legalized gambling, Ohio was going to rank like just below, I think, Vegas in the amount of money.
Yeah, they just came out with that. They was
the numbers have been ridiculous.
$7 billion, what Jake Crawford said this week. $7 billion.
And
they just passed that marijuana. That's next.
Bam. That's it. I'm serious.
Those two together.
Gambling and marijuana. And marijuana, it's still sort of the wild, wild west and sort of the taxes around it. So they haven't figured out. Like gambling, the money goes to like gambling addiction classes and education. I'm not advocating to take money away from that. I'm saying you put something on the ballot, pass for an extra tax, and they'll probably be passed on to the people, the gamblers, but you tax the companies, and that's another added revenue stream. Right. That's what Minnesota did. Minnesota, the state, gambling is not legal in Minnesota, yet Minnesota did these like pull tab tickets.
Right.
And they made so much money off those pull tab tickets that they were in position to pay off their loans or to pay off the public portion of it years ahead of schedule.
Yeah.
So if you can look at gambling, if you can look at marijuana, I think that there's avenues there that you can generate enough.
Can we get the hookers involved? I mean, what's going on?
if that's the case, we had money.
Go,
we had money by the end of the year.
All right, Mikey. On that note, what do you got?
So I got a poll result, and then one final question before we move on. What do you think? We made the poll. Do you want the Browns to stay downtown or move elsewhere?
Oh, they want to stay down.
What do you think the split is on 512 votes?
70-30, stay downtown.
I agree. Somewhere around there.
I have no idea. I'll say 60-40 to be different.
Before I tell you the answer, downtown or move elsewhere, Bull, in a perfect world?
I can't answer that without knowing how it would. I feel like even though there are some positives from a tax standpoint, I feel like it's a negative for the city. I think.
To have it or to lose it?
It's a negative to lose it, so I'm going to say keep it downtown.
Jason, in a perfect world, would you rather have it stay downtown or move?
Move.
Tyvis?
In a perfect world, I'd rebuild the stadium downtown, put a dome on it.
So the poll results with 513 votes, Jason Lloyd nailed it to a T. 60-40, stay downtown, 40% move out somewhere else. So we'll see. We'll continue to follow this. Any new updates, we'll continue to update you guys. But as of now,
Brook Park Browns.
BPP.
Yeah.
BP. It's kind of catchy.
Yeah.
All right, guys, before we move on to our next topic, tonight, 5 o'clock, the debut of the Ultimate 216 show with our guy, Earl the Pearl. We were going over some potential topics the other day. He won't tell me exactly what's on the docket today, which means you know it's about to be spicy, because if it was something controversial or something that would not elicit a reaction, he would have told me before, so he'd be fine. But no, it's going to be fire tonight. 5 o'clock, the Ultimate 216 show. Make sure y'all tune in to Earl the Pearl. It's the debut, the first ever 216 show, so make sure you guys show Earl some love. Yesterday.
By the way, I go to text Earl yesterday. I go on my phone, and I'm looking, because my phone's in alphabetical order of first name. And I'm looking, I'm like, I know I have Earl saved in my phone. Why am I not seeing him under Earl? And then I realized that he had changed his name. Like, there's this thing now with iPhones where you change your name and it automatically changes in your contacts.
No, you got to accept it.
Oh, so I probably did.
You hit update.
Whatever.
Yeah, just hit update.
And I didn't realize, but Earl's nickname is Pearl, of course. So now he's listed under my phone as Pearl.
Really?
Yeah.
I think he's in my phone that way.
I didn't realize that.
He ain't in my phone that way.
Because usually usually we just text in the text group. But I was texting Earl individually for the first time in a while.
Yeah, no, mine's though, it just says Earl.
Oh, it says Earl. Well.
Earl the Pearl, EDP, whatever you want. Check him out, 5 o'clock on the Ultimate 216 show. Yesterday, the Browns hired Andy Dickerson as their new offensive line coach. He was their first candidate for the offensive coordinator position.
Yep.
And, Bull, I think you were the one, it was either you or Jason, one of you two alluded to the fact that, well, hey, Brian Callahan may get a head coaching job. That means Bill may leave. Maybe this was a preview for the OL position if it opens up. You turn out to be spot on. What do you make of the hire? It's impossible to replace a legend like Callahan, but
what was he?
He was the Seahawks offensive line coach.
Okay.
So I don't think they were, whatever. Listen, I hope he does a good job. He has only been a head position coach for 2 years.
He played O-line where?
Tufts
D3.
College.
Boston.
D3. He's a D3 guy.
Those usually be the best ones, too. That's the crazy part.
Yeah.
They usually grow up to be great coaches.
I like his hair. He's got good hair. I like that.
When you look at his resume, you think about the Rams, obviously he worked with Sean McVay.
What was he there, Mike? Like the assistant offensive line coach?
When he was with the Rams?
Yeah.
He was their running game coordinator for a sec. I'll pull up the exact Wikipedia.
Oh, that's great.
He's been coaching a while.
They need that.
Listen, nobody's going to be as good as Bill Callahan.
He was the assistant offensive line coach in St. Louis and also had some hand in the run game. He was also the Seahawks run game coordinator. One stat for you guys. This is the one thing I was able to find. Shout out to Mac the Buffalo on Twitter for this one. But the Seahawks had 9 different offensive linemen last season play at least 200 snaps. So another injured offensive line just like the Browns. They allowed the 10th fewest sacks in the NFL. So we had a lot of guys who were not necessarily stars come in and be relatively productive.
And how much that's because of him or not, who the hell knows?
Well,
seems like a perfectly acceptable choice.
Yeah. Listen, he was under Sean McVay, who's a great offensive mind. He studied the game. He knows the run game. You need an offensive line coach. It's not like there's any offensive line coaches out there that's like, oh, we got to have him.
Right.
Like, he's a game changer. So, when it comes to that, he got big shoes to fill. It's going to be tough to do, but I like the fact that he has an offensive mind. I think that's ultimately goes back to the Kevin Stefanski. You got Tommy Rees, you got Ken Dorsey, you got Kevin Stefanski, and you got this guy. You got 4 good offensive minds, or a guy who's worked under a really good offensive-minded coach in Sean McVay. He could bring some of that run game tendencies in there and help, Nick Chubb and the rest of that committee get back to where they supposed to be. So I think it's a respectable hire, and I think it's the best you was going to be able to do in this situation now that coach has been hired.
Who's the lighter-skinned guy from Kid and Play? Does anybody remember?
Kid?
From what?
Kid and Play. You don't know Kid and Play?
Yeah, Kid.
No, I just didn't hear you. Kid and Play.
Is Kid the lighter-skinned guy?
Yeah, Kid.
Andy Dickerson looks like if Seth Rogen and Kid from Kid and Play had a kid.
God.
If Kid from Kid and Play and Seth Rogen had a kid, it would be Andy Dickerson. There you go.
Kind of looks like Bob Ross if Bob Ross ate another version
Or maybe
of
Bob Ross. He's got a little Bob Ross
he
hair
does have
going.
the Bob Ross hair.
What do you think, Jason? Excited?
You're demented. That's what I think.
True. That's fair.
It's funny because it is true. Like, it does look like that.
I was just trying to look it up real quick. Is Chad O'Shea the only position coach returning the receiver? I mean, Callie's on staff too.
Yeah, well, she's the assistant. I was just going to say, that's the big takeaway. First of all, he's the first coach they've hired now that doesn't have NFL experience in terms of playing. The first of all the coaches they've hired here. But if you look at, they also hired, I don't know his name, but the Eagles.
His name is, and I'll tell you guys right now, it's Roy Ivastin.
He was the Eagles' assistant offensive line coach. He's going to be this guy's assistant offensive line coach. So if you look at the offensive coordinator, the position coaches, and even the assistant position coaches, I believe that Chad O'Shea and Kelly Brownson, who are the wide receiver and assistant wide receiver coach, are the only returners, I believe, on offense.
Yeah, I think that's accurate.
Maybe that was their assistant running back coach. I don't know.
We'll go through it real quick. Offensive line coach gone. Tight ends coach T.C. McCartney gone. Offensive coordinator gone. Running backs coach gone. Receivers coach is still there.
Right.
Yeah, so he is. Yeah, he's the only
right,
one.
but even the assistants, like, because the guy who was Bill Callahan's assistant went to New England.
Scott Peters.
So anyway,
That is an overhaul. That is a massive overhaul.
that didn't seem necessary.
I didn't see it coming.
Nobody
did. I didn't see that coming.
Nobody did. Given what you had and then the season that you had and made, like, why would you think that?
Yeah.
What did they finish offensively ranked? Like, total
Steve, pull up 8.
Like,
I mean, it just depends on what metric you look at. These are the basic.
Yeah. I mean, some of these
basic
ranks
stats. They were
are
10th in points, 19th in passing yards, 12th in rushing yards. They led the league in turnovers. So,
I mean, the turnovers were terrible.
Given
other
what
numbers, I mean, I don't know if you can go. I don't think those are the best statistics to determine how good you are.
Given what you had, I mean, the turnover thing, that's not.
But like they were kind of middle of the road offensively, considering the injuries.
Have they ever been like really explosive like that offensively?
What do you mean, like they were this at the end of the year?
Like
the year with Derek Anderson.
No, I'm talking since Kevin Stefanski's been the coach.
I mean,
have we been like a top 10, top 5 offense?
I don't think. No. But
so that's probably
the back half of the 2020 season with Baker. The offense was really good. That second half of the year, maybe more like almost. It was half, really the second half, including the playoffs.
So maybe
the offense was really good.
If a lot of contracts was expiring this year, right, coaches? So they probably it ran its course. We didn't see anything.
I mean, listen, it is what it is, and obviously the offensive line changes had nothing to do with the organization,
right?
Yes.
But it's interesting. And what's funny is the only coach that's not gone
is Chad
O'Shea, and you could argue that's been the most disappointing position on offense.
Yeah.
Well, the crazy part is that what's the DB's coach? Jackson is his name?
I have no idea.
He was about to he got looked at for a D coordinator job or something like that, which is crazy because I don't feel like he's been here that long.
Your defensive backs coach, your linebacker coach, and your wide receiver coach are the only 3 returning position coaches on this team.
Well, they couldn't afford to lose a DB coach. I think he's doing a really good job.
Yeah. So anyway, we don't know enough about Dickerson. Who knows? But he seems like a perfectly reasonable hire.
Well, let's call a spade a spade. We won't know Andy Dickerson until we see them play. If that offensive line gets completely destroyed, then we know he's not great and we'll criticize him. It's like this situation for him, for Andy Dickerson, is kind of not fair. It's like Jed Wills filling in for Joe Thomas. It's like Bill Callahan was here, and now you got to try to replace him, and we expect you to have them there, and I don't know if it's realistic to ask those things.
Right. If any of the veterans struggle, we're going to blame him, which is probably unfair.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, if his one thing is if he can get Jed Wills to play better, then he'll get a win for that because Jed Wills.
Well, Jed Wills was playing decent ball before he went out.
He was playing better.
Yes.
But if he can become
what you call it?
Average.
He's playing average by the end of the year.
Then I had to break up with him after the second week.
Wait, I got a question real quick. I guess I had thought of this, but I didn't really think about this. Jack Conklin is expected to be a full recovery participant on the roster next year, correct?
Yeah.
So you have 3 starting tackles.
Yes.
What the heck are you going to do?
What are you talking about? We talked about this. I said they're going to make DeJuan Jones become a left tackle, and then they're going to end up making Jed Wills be a swing guy.
Do we think there's any chance they could trade Jack Conklin? Probably not, right?
Not with that contract.
No. They're getting like $20 million.
Would they have to eat some of the money? Could you trade him and eat some of the money?
Why wouldn't you trade Jed Wills? You probably get more for him.
Yeah, I think you want more.
Yeah, but you'd rather get rid of Conklin's contract.
But the dead money on it, I haven't looked, but I would imagine it would be.
It was like 16 or 18 million.
I gotta tell you, overall, I think with extensions, Andrew Berry's done a good job. But that one, even at the time,
we were talking like he was going to retire.
Right.
We say that
3 years.
He's going to come back next year and have an all-pro
listen, we didn't. I know I didn't love the Njoku contract at the time, and obviously now it looks good.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it like this one.
The dead money's crazy too, Jason.
I told you.
Is it?
It's like 18 or 20 million.
This year, his dead money's 27.5.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
So you're saying if they cut him, there'd be 27 million in dead money. So they can't cut him.
His cap hit to keep him is 12 million. To cut him is 27.
Yeah. So what about if they cut him after the 24 season?
14.5.
14.5 dead?
Dead.
And how much for him to play?
19.
Check the post-June 1.
Yeah, post-June, dead money and cap savings,
Post-June 1 for 25.
What was
10
DeJuan's
million
injury this year?
Knee.
They'll save.
ACL?
They would lose $15 million if they cut him before the start of next season.
I don't remember.
They'd save $5 million if they cut him after the season before 2025. They'd save $10 million if they cut him after
they'll cut him at some point next year if he, before the 25 season. Probably and eat some money, but they can't eat 27 million.
If that's the case, then if they cutting him next year, then that means that they paying Jed Wills.
Yeah, I think they're going to pay Jed Wills.
To play left or right?
It's a good question.
Well, Jed was a right in college. They moved him to left. DeJuan was right in college. So you want to move DeJuan to left?
And put Jed back at right?
And put Jed back at right.
If everybody's healthy.
Because from a size-wise.
Oh, he's ideal.
Exactly. But it's hard. It's hard as heck.
I'm not moving.
Switch.
I'm not moving Jones to left tackle.
Okay.
I'm with you.
I'm not doing that.
I think I would leave well enough alone.
Yeah,
with where he is.
What's your best guess?
To what?
Let's say they're all healthy and nobody gets traded.
Who's gonna play?
Who's not playing of the three? It's tough.
Well, it would be between Jack and DeJuan. If neither one of them can play left, you can't tell them to
Jed's
go play.
playing left tackle.
That's what I'm saying. If Jed's playing left. Now you're talking.
Does that mean DeJuan Jones is on the bench?
I think so.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy.
I think so. I think it is.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Now, it would only be 1 year, probably, because you'd probably, based on the numbers you gave, I think they'd be able to cut after June 1st Conklin in the 25 season.
They did
take a hit.
To be fair, you get a good offensive lineman, you want to secure that. They didn't know they was going to land DeJuan Jones in the fourth round. He was going to be
it's
good.
not about DeJuan Jones, Tyvis. It's about that he's been hurt so much.
But he's been so good when he's playing.
So, Jack's probably going to get hurt again.
Probably.
So
y'all got to cut that out. Y'all got to cut that out.
Well, I'm serious. Like when
you're probably right.
When you look at the injury, I'm not wishing it on him. He's a great guy, but I'm just saying, like with that injury history, you have to be aware of that. But I would kind of worry. Do you know DeJuan at all? A little bit. I just wonder about hey, you played great last year. We love you. We believe in you. Now go sit on the bench. What's that going to do to him?
Tough.
What's that going to do to him?
That's got to be tough.
When the flag on him coming in was maturity.
That's what I was about to say. The thing about DeJuan at Ohio State, when I go back and talk to them, is it's never been on the field with him. He's great on the field. It's the off the field stuff with him, and it's maturity and taking care of your body and stuff like that. He struggled with doing that. So that's why I was like, him coming here was great, being under Bill, because Bill's going to whip somebody into shape. And now that he's gone, and you might put him back on the bench,
I wonder if
it's hard to think that you'd be foolish not to think that this guy can get disinterested and go back to 400 pounds, because he's like, I ain't playing nowhere.
Is it crazy to think? I know this is very uncommon on offensive line. Is it crazy to think, to keep them both healthy, that you rotate them a little bit?
I mean, if you rotate them, you'll keep them healthy.
Yeah, you're more likely.
They did it with
James Hudson.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Hudson and DeJuan run pass plays.
Which I did. It was something I never seen. I've been playing football since 9 years old. I've never seen rotating tackles.
It's so weird, though, because like defensive linemen change all the time.
That's different.
Why can't you? But why?
The energy. You answer. You know.
It's just, it's a rhythm thing, and it's chemistry thing. Like
No, I get the chemistry part.
Really a big part of it. When you get that, you and that guard is on the same page. You see why when somebody go down, they struggle right off the bat. Like, for example, when Jack Conklin went down, Wyatt Teller's production went down because he had to spend a whole game trying to make sure DeJuan was good.
I hear you.
It's a chemistry thing, and then at tackle, it's just a feel. It's the same reason why it's hard to go from right to left. Like, you so used to that technique that you're trying to switch it up, and it's just not the same feeling. It take a while to get it.
And plus, on the defensive side, I don't want this to sound like offensive linemen don't exert energy, because of course they do. But when you're attacking, when you're rushing from the defensive side, it's going to take more out of you
than
if you're on the offense. Is that fair?
Yeah. No,
these guys get exhausted.
Yeah.
So you got to rotate them through.
Yeah. And especially because they pass so much, and pass blocking is really more passive, especially.
More protective. Yeah. Run blocking is more aggressive.
It's just crazy to think DeJuan Jones could be on the bench, but it probably may.
You ain't gonna pay.
And he might be the best player of the three.
What's his dead money here? You ain't gonna pay him $27 million to sit on the bench.
Right. It is. I just hadn't thought of it in that light, but there's a real
chance.
Mike. We're gonna make our next part of our ultimate same game parlay. If you're watching, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's totally free. Helps us out a ton on the back end. We very much appreciate it. The 3 legs of our ultimate same game parlay so far are under 245.5 passing yards for Brock Purdy, over 67.5 rushing yards for Isaac Pacheco, over 72.5 receiving yards for Travis Kelce, and today's part of the parlay, anytime touchdown scores. I took the super long shots off the board because I didn't think we'd ever come to a consensus on a Noah Gray 23-1 odds. So these are the 5 or 6, because there was 2 guys with the same odds. Best or shortest odds to score an anytime touchdown. We'll do this quickly, about 5 minutes. But
now,
guys,
Kelce and McCaffrey are going to be near the top, but even though McCaffrey's the question is, do you go at McCaffrey, which is a near lock? But it's minus 230.
Why is Pacheco not a lock? Not on there?
Pacheco
Kelce's the lock to me. Yeah. Kelce's a lock. Kelce's a bigger lock than McCaffrey.
Man, Pacheco's scoring.
If you think Kelce's a bigger lock than McCaffrey,
what is Pacheco? He's not even on the list.
That's what I'm saying.
Pacheco. I'll look it up. I may have left one off. Because we already used Pacheco. I didn't want to re-up on Pacheco.
Well, we already used
Kelce was different. But Kelce
we already used Kelce too.
Yeah, but Kelce's different because he's the most bet-on player in the entire game.
That's a bad job by you.
So this is anytime. Well, McCaffrey.
Anytime touchdown.
Right, but if we want this to pay off as much as possible, we could go with someone that's a little bit of a long
shot. I think we should go with someone besides McCaffrey.
No, but
I agree.
But it's 3 things that's guaranteed in life: death, taxes, and CMC scoring a touchdown.
That's why it's net minus 230.
Y'all could blow this parlay if y'all want
to.
I'm a guarantee guy.
I would say Kelce. I think it's if Mahomes if you think Mahomes gonna have a touchdown pass, it's going to Travis.
Pacheco's minus 130, by the way. Minus 130.
Wow.
We could technically include, if you guys want to include Pacheco, I only had 5 spots. If you want to include Pacheco at minus 130.
If you're going to take Pacheco at minus 130, then you might as well take Kelce at plus 100.
So the Kelce thing is interesting because Hufanga is out, the All-Pro from last year, and their safety is Tashawn Gibson. Shout out to Tashawn Gibson, real solid
Former
dude.
Brown.
Real solid dude.
We used to call him the Shark.
Played with him for a week in Houston, real solid guy. And who is the other safety? I don't even know who it is.
No idea. You're supposed to be
Kelce plus 100. With that being said,
the other ones are all
Kelce plus 100.
Much more risky. I do kind of like Brandon Ayuk. I'm high on Brandon Ayuk.
I like him too.
Ayuk at plus 155.
No, because Snead gonna be on him, and he
won't be on Debo.
No, Debo plays slide. Snead is
that'll be McDuffie then.
Yeah.
All right.
I still like
Snead.
Ayuk, but I like
Snead
Kelsey
is a
also
lockdown guy, so I'm going.
All right. Well, Kelsey's the safest bet. At least it's
No.
money.
McCaffrey's the safest.
Well, yeah,
but
but
y'all
that's
don't want
so.
to listen.
The odds are so short that I think it's a waste to go with that. You guys want to go with Kelsey? What do you think?
And
You're voting for McCaffrey.
Since we just can't put McCaffrey to guarantee, I will pick Kelsey.
I think Kelsey's a bigger guarantee than McCaffrey.
All right, let's go with Kelsey, Mike.
So we'll add Kelsey and make that the fourth leg of our parlay, which means Purdy under 245.5, Pacheco over 67.5.
That's the one that's gonna. I didn't like that one.
I didn't like that one either.
I deferred to the class.
I said that yesterday that I didn't love.
I told them Debo under, but we all agreed to just go with Pacheco, which Pacheco's had the worst he's had in a game in the playoffs is 68 yards. So, and I understand that everybody thinks San Francisco's run defense is good, but they have been vulnerable for some odd reason to outside zone. I don't know what that's about.
And I defer to you on that. You're the expert on that
not good at outside
Well, we're going to go with Kelsey on this one.
We'll go with Kelsey. We'll lock it in. That means we have over Kelsey on the receiving yards and a touchdown, and we will finish this off tomorrow. We're going to talk baseball for a few minutes.
What's tomorrow, by the way?
It's going to be special prop bets. So
Gotcha.
we'll pick a random prop bet to wrap this all up. Tonight, 5 o'clock, we mentioned it earlier. Let's mention it again, though. The Ultimate 216 show launches Earl the Pearl, 5 p.m. You can go back and check out the Ultimate Browns show at G on Monday. Jason and I did an Ultimate Cav show on Tuesday. Tonight, the Ultimate 216 show, culture, sports, a little bit of life advice with our guy, Earl the Pearl. Jake Trotter will join us in 10 minutes to talk Browns. We'll do Cavs, no fence riders after that. But, guys, we haven't talked Guardians in a while, and Major League Baseball is releasing its top 100 players of the upcoming season. And our guy, Josh Naylor, came in at number 96, which...
Yeah, you were all up in arms about this.
I didn't think it was that egregious. Did you?
I didn't think it was that egregious.
You guys didn't think it was that egregious?
He had a really good season.
Yeah, but one.
What's that?
He said one.
You don't base it just on one season.
Ellie De La Cruz is on there after playing half a season. They got the dude.
He's only played
They got the dude from the Dodgers who is just coming over from Japan at number 58.
De La Cruz is one of the biggest prospects in the game.
That's the point. It's based on the past and the projection of what you think the guys are going forward.
You don't think Josh Naylor is better than 96?
What's that?
You don't think Josh Naylor is better than 96?
He might be. I haven't seen the rest of the list. I can't read the guys ahead of him.
The guys ahead of him on this 90 through 100. 91 is Nathan Eovaldi, 92 Dylan Cease, 93 Cal Raleigh, 94 Gabriel Moreno, 95 Royce Lewis, 96 Josh Naylor, 97 Tristan Cassis, 98 Nathaniel Lowe, 99 Mac McClain, and number 100 Ellie De La Cruz.
So there's a ton of guys there that are or were top prospects.
Right.
Royce Lewis was the number one pick. He's had a ton of injuries, but he's got a really high ceiling.
Right.
Raleigh's a power hitting catcher.
Yeah, he's not that good though. I don't love. I think he's a better player than Raleigh.
Yeah,
but
probably.
He's a catcher, so you get a little boost.
And Naylor only hit what? How many home runs did he hit last year? 17. He's not a massive power guy.
No,
I thought he hit.
He had 100 RBIs.
Listen, the bottom.
Right
listen, Naylor had a heck of a year.
He did,
but he has average power at best and no speed. So guy he's not, and he can't play defense.
And he scored 52 runs, which is not necessarily his fault, but that's not a great number either.
Josh Naylor is a good player who had a good season. Are there guys ahead of him that I probably like him more than them? Sure, but I bet if I looked at their list from 100 to 120. Like, if you ask me who'd I rather have this year, Josh Naylor or Ellie De La Cruz? Yeah, give me Ellie De La Cruz.
Everybody's going to say Ellie De La Cruz.
Yeah, because he's got way more upside than Josh Naylor. Now, he might not have a better year, but he's got way more upside. So, could Josh have been as high as the 70s or the 80s? Sure, probably.
Can you pull that back up? That's a good point, Bull. Let's see, who would you rather have on that list?
Matt McClain.
I also have the 70s, 60s, and 80s, too, if you want to see those afterwards.
Well, some of those guys in the I do like Naylor right now. I take him over Cal Raleigh.
I would too.
Nate Eovaldi.
It's hard to compare a pitcher to a hitter.
It's hard.
I would lean pitcher probably. Yeah. I would take Eovaldi and Cease over Naylor.
Right. Cease had a bad year, but he's been good. For the most part.
Gabby Moreno.
Gabby Moreno's another guy who had a good rookie year. Right. Like, you take Gabby Moreno over Josh Naylor.
Royce Lewis for sure.
Yeah.
Casas is a better first baseman than
Well,
Naylor.
Casas is behind him.
Yeah, Casas should be ahead of Naylor.
Yeah, like I'm surprised Nathaniel Lowe's 98.
He should be ahead of him. Yeah. Although Lowe's a very similar
Type of player.
high average, mid power.
Yeah, he's got a little more power than Naylor.
How many home runs did Lowe have
I
last
thought he
year?
had more than 20, didn't he?
Naylor missed a chunk of the season. He was on pace for 20.
Yeah, listen, he had a good year. He's a good player.
And he's also only done. He was never a top elite prospect.
Right.
And he's had one good year.
And think about this: you have on major league rosters during the season, you have what 700, 800 players roughly. All right, what's 30 times 20? 30 times 26, Mike. Give me a little math here.
600, 780.
Okay, 780.
780
players. So if we say he's 96 or whatever he was, is that an insult? That's the top, 12%? Top 13%?
Here's 90 to 81. Anthony went up to go grab Jake, so I'm just going to read these names.
Yeah.
90's Jordan Montgomery.
Well, I'm taking Montgomery.
89, Matt Chapman.
Matt Chapman's better.
88, Ha-Sung Kim of the Padres. 87, Nolan Jones.
Yes.
Wow.
Jones should probably be higher than that. But again, he only did it once.
Yeah, he only did it once, but man, the Guardians blew it on him.
86,
Blew it on
Anthony Santander.
Anthony Santander's better.
85, J.D. Martinez, who might be 58 years old at this point.
J.D. Yeah, he's still
unsigned.
Yeah, he's good.
84, Seiya Suzuki. Did I pronounce it right?
Yeah, Seiya. Say you, say me.
83, Marcell Ozuna. 82, Wilson Contreras. 81, William Contreras.
They got William Contreras ahead of Wilson Contreras?
William of the Brewers
Who
ahead
did
of
this
Wilson
list?
of the
Just MLB.com?
This is MLB
I
Network.
mean, all those guys 80 to 90 are better than Josh Naylor.
Yeah, probably.
Wilson Contreras didn't have a great season last year, but
Yeah.
he's been a much better player overall.
I mean, before last year, Naylor would be nowhere near that top 100
No,
list.
not even close.
So
he wouldn't be in the top 200.
He had one good year, and he cracked the top 100 list.
Right.
Good on him.
McNuggets, where is World Series champion Austin Hedges?
700.
well, they've only released the top 50 so far, so I'm assuming he's in the next 50.
Okay.
He'll be in the top 50,
He's the worst player in baseball.
If we said 780,
do you guys
he's
want real quick?
777.
Yeah, right.
Bo, do you want 70 to 80 real quick, and then
Go ahead,
obviously
70 to 80. Let's have fun.
80 is Edwin Diaz of the Mets. 79,
Who didn't play last year. He was hurt the whole season.
Max Muncy. 78, Isaac Paredes. 77, Josh Lowe. 76, George Springer, excuse me. 75, George Kirby. 74, Tyler Glasnow. 73, Kyle Bradish. 72, Christian Yelich. And 71, Brian Reynolds.
Yeah, those guys are all
better.
way better.
I can't
than
believe
Josh Naylor.
Glasnow's 74.
Yeah, some of those guys I was surprised were that low. I know Springer had a bit of a down year,
Yeah, Glasnow should be top 50.
but based on what he gave us, 70 to 90, I think Naylor's right. I mean, I think that's right where he should be.
Yeah, I don't have a
So
problem
he was not
with it.
screwed. Because those guys are all, those guys have been, most of those guys from 70 to 90 have been consistently at the level, if not higher, than Naylor, not 1 year.
Or they were top prospects who had one good year.
Right, exactly. So I think Naylor belongs between 90 and 100. I think that's
Well,
right.
let me ask you guys this then, not Naylor.
Yeah,
They've gone up to 60,
yeah.
and Naylor's the only Guardian so far.
Well, Jose will be up
Well,
top.
outside of Jose, will there be another Guardian in the top?
Clase will be up there.
Yeah, Clase will be up there.
Those two. Anyone else?
Bybee will be on there.
You think he's going to be in the
Yeah.
top 60?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Who? Give me the pictures, Mike, 60 to 70.
Fell off that bad, huh?
Well, I don't know. I
gotta
Jimenez
pull it back
fell
up.
off
Hold
that
on.
bad.
What's
Look
that,
at you.
Mike?
I got to pull it back up.
What's the top pitcher that they've released, starting pitcher that they've released?
top
so
The
far?
top pitcher they've released is the guy that the Dodgers just signed out of Japan.
Yeah, no way they
Go to
put
the next
Bybee
one.
ahead of
Yamamoto.
him.
Go to the next one.
Justin Verlander.
No, Bybee's not.
All right.
Bybee's not on
Bybee
the
and
list.
Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams should be on that list somewhere. Bybee and Gavin Williams should
I
have
don't
been on
think
that
so.
list.
They will.
Gavin Williams was a top prospect.
I know, but he didn't do enough last year. Bybee was better than Gavin.
Maybe I'm
Williams.
being biased, but I think they should both be on the top 100 list.
I bet you they won't. I bet you Jose.
Will Quan make it?
No, I don't think so. Top 60 player?
Probably not.
Jimenez fell off that bad. That he ain't even gonna make the list.
If he was on the list, he would have been already
That's
on.
crazy.
You're talking about top 60 now. I think Clase and Jose are the only ones that are going to be on there. I could be wrong, but there's no way they're putting Bybee or Gavin Williams ahead of Justin Verlander, even at his age. And this you're talking about Yamamoto, right?
Yes.
That's the Japanese pitcher. Yamamoto everybody thinks he's going to be an ace.
Yeah, next year he'll be a lot higher on that. Probably because he's never done it.
Right. So
61 to
there's
64.
no way they're putting Bybee ahead of
61 to 64 all pitchers. Yamamoto 61, Verlander 62, Kodai Senga of the Mets.
He's the Mets on the Mets.
And Justin Steele of the Cubs, who had a Cy Young.
Yeah, Justin Steele was top 10 for Cy Young.
Bybee should be on that list somewhere. He was second on the Rookie of the Year voting. And he wasn't an elite prospect, but he was highly well thought of. Our Keith Law said he could be a
If
future
he were going to be on the
one.
list, though, it would have been around where Naylor is. Or maybe in the 80s.
I would say 70s.
He's not as good as any of those pitchers,
But again, you have to factor ceiling into it. Verlander's at the end. He is what he is.
Right.
Bybee's got a lot more runway.
I guess I got to know who voted on this, too, whether it was the players or...
It's just an MLB Network list.
Yeah, it couldn't
I
be
don't
the
know
players, because the players wouldn't have voted for Yamamoto.
No. I don't know. I think Bybee should be on that list.
Yeah, but he's not. But he's not going to be ahead of those pitchers.
Probably
I just
not.
don't see it. All right, we're switching gears.
Yeah, we're going to go back to the Browns, bring in Jake Trotter after a quick word from FanDuel. Happy Super Bowl season to all who celebrate from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. If you're like us, Super Bowl Sunday is all about scoring the best seats on the couch, grabbing your favorite snacks, and placing some super bets. And right now, FanDuel has so many different ways to help you end the season with not just one win, but hopefully 2, 3, or many more. Not only can you bet on who will win Super Bowl 58, but FanDuel also has bets for who will score touchdowns, how many points will be scored, and so much more. And the best part, new customers who join today get $200 in bonus bets if their first bet of $5 or more wins. So make sure you visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to sign up. That is FanDuel.com/UCSS. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook sponsor of the NFL. And with that, we welcome in Jake Trotter, Browns beat reporter for ESPN.com. Jake, thanks for coming in today.
Jake, how are you?
Welcome to our lovely home.
Second time here.
Are you ready for the offseason? I mean, what do you do to prepare for the offseason?
What do I do?
Are you doing push-ups? Are you doing finger exercises? I don't know. What do you want
I try to
do?
shed a little of my late December weight. Try to get back in the gym.
Okay.
Try to start eating healthy again. Try to get a little bit of a routine.
Okay.
I've gotten better the older I've gotten at keeping that routine. But then, earlier it was like September it would fall apart. Now I can push it to like almost Christmas, but last 2-3 weeks of this year was
the holidays. Everybody goes to hell.
Yeah.
Except for really
and the
people.
Texans, Jason knows this. The Texans
Their food spread.
is unbelievable.
You leave
off
with
the charts.
diabetes.
Is it the best in the league?
You leave with diabetes.
It's top three. It's top three.
Is the Browns have the worst in the league?
Bottom three.
Who's in that
That's
category?
exactly
Have you
what
been
Jason
to every
said.
stadium?
Almost.
That's funny because that's not the first time I heard.
Yeah, everybody
this.
says the Browns.
The Browns say that they
media
have a
spread is the worst.
bottom three.
I think they was voted the worst.
Embarrassing, Browns. Let's go.
The Browns gave the writers food poisoning a few years ago. Were you here for that? Or
I
was
mean,
that prior
I
to
was
you?
not. It's better.
Yeah.
It's way better than it used to be.
Yeah.
When I first started.
That's funny
It's
'cause
still
I said-
bottom three.
I said the same.
Jimmy Haslam owns half the state. Can he have better food for the media? Please. Maybe we'd treat him nicer if he gave us better food.
There was a game last year, the year before, where there was no food pregame because the guy was new and got lost. You remember that?
At the stadium?
He was like pushing the food around somewhere underneath and couldn't find where to go, and there was like no food.
At
sounds
the
like a bad
Browns
dream.
Stadium?
Yeah.
Last year?
It was last
Some-
year, the year before.
Sometimes it's like that Homer Simpson meme where I walk in and just walk right back
Yeah.
out.
Yep.
You could tell it's
Atlanta is top three. SoFi is top three.
I got
The
it.
Commanders is like the saddest setup ever. Maybe
Not
it'll be
surprised.
different.
Maybe
now.
with a new owner would have changed.
They were
so
last.
the worst are the Browns, Washington, and who? Who else?
Who
is
else
that?
would you say, Jason?
Bad.
I think Baltimore's really fallen apart.
Baltimore's gone down. They took away the crab cakes.
So what's
Yeah.
better in the division, Bengals or Steelers?
They're both better.
I was not impressed with Cincinnati this year, but both are better than the Browns.
That's crazy.
Browns got big.
Browns are last in the division.
I don't get to travel the games, so I only get the Browns. And yeah,
Did you say Minnesota for top?
Minnesota's top three.
Phenomenal.
AFC North is really good at defense and really bad at press box.
All right, so we got Minnesota. So if I have to go to press boxes, Minnesota, Atlanta, Houston. Those are the three to go.
And SoFi would be the
Oh,
other.
and SoFi.
Yeah.
Dallas
I feel
is
like
very
in
good,
Atlanta
too.
they
Very
would have
good.
strippers.
And Cowboy Stadium would be
I haven't
the
been
fifth.
to
yeah.
Dallas.
Do they have
Cowboy Stadium's
strippers in the Atlanta press
No,
food?
but they have
They should.
like a carving station.
Oh my God, it's like a wedding.
Ice cream sundae.
Yeah, it's,
really?
Yeah.
Have you been to Vegas? I haven't been to Vegas.
I haven't been to the new Vegas stadium.
I got to imagine Vegas is going to be good.
I would think so.
You going to?
Well, maybe if they build a new stadium,
not
Jake,
this
and this we were talking about this a little bit later.
Yeah.
Maybe with a new stadium, they'll have improved press box food. Who knows? What's your take on everything that's been rumored about with this potential new stadium?
They're frustrated that they haven't been able to get this off the ground, that they haven't been able to get any momentum for a renovated or a new stadium. So I think they have a lot of contingency plans that they're looking at. That would be really interesting. I don't know that there's a stadium in professional sports that's that close to the airport as that one would be.
Right.
I don't think that's their first choice, right, Jason? But, I'm from Oklahoma City, right? And the ownership there kicked in a $50 million of $900 million renovation. The taxpayers are picking up the rest of it. It passed overwhelmingly in December, and the Browns are like, we can't even get a 50-50 off the ground, much less a 95-5 split. So for whatever reason, as much as this city loves the Browns, they can't get politically a stadium renovation or new stadium construction off the ground.
And I get it. There's a lot of poor people in the city of Cleveland, and it looks kind of unseemly to spend money when a billionaire could afford to pay for the whole thing himself. But unfortunately, that's just the way it is. And in most of these cases, it's at least 50-50, and we'll see. But
the Thunder could have moved, right? Like that was something that,
right.
It's Oklahoma City. You're not entitled to a pro sports team. It's hard to envision any scenario in which the Browns would leave again, right?
They can't.
That gives the city a lot of leverage.
Yeah, right. That's true.
I mean, the laws were rewritten when the Browns left the last time. They truly, legally, they can't leave without Jimmy having to sell a team. They can't leave Cleveland, or they can't leave the Northeast Ohio. They can't leave this region. They can't. Okay. I mean, they can leave the city of Cleveland and go to Brook Park.
Okay, yeah.
But you can't leave the region.
And why would you? I mean,
they're not. That's not happening.
Yeah.
But I will say the one thing that's interesting to me. Zach Meisel and I did a deep dive on when the Browns did leave the first time, and part of it was exactly this, that the team couldn't engage the city, and the city sort of pushed off the Browns. They were focused on progressive, Jacobs Field at the time. They were focused on bringing the Cavs from Richfield to downtown, and they told the Browns, we'll take care of you later, we'll get to you, we'll get to you, we'll get to you. And Art ran out of time, money, and patience, and that's how they wound up. He was a bad owner. Well, he was, and that's how they wound up in Baltimore. And now, I think that Jake's 100% right. The city's been slow to come to the table. I think the city's looking at this as this isn't until 2028. There are more pressing matters that we are dealing with at City Hall than you guys. You're going to have to wait your turn. And personally, I think that's the wrong approach. I've talked to people who do stadium deals, and they say the time to do it is now. That's not the Browns saying that. That's people who have built these stadiums and said, you need to work on this 3, 4, 5, 6 years out. You can't wait until the last minute to do that.
And don't think that Deshaun Watson trade was made independent of what we're talking about right now.
Yeah. But is he going to be the quarterback when the new stadium is built?
I don't know. But if you can generate some, if the team is 10-1, it is a lot easier to do this.
Sure.
Versus when your quarterback is out for the year with the shoulder injury.
I do think though that Jimmy's got a lot of PR. There, a lot of people don't like him. And the FBI scandal.
Yeah.
And the Deshaun thing that didn't go over well with
and this whole thing with selling Pilot Flying J, they inflated the numbers
by Warren Buffett and all that. There's some hurdles there that if you're going to put something on the ballot and you want public money, and I don't know what you think. I don't think he's paying for the whole thing. I think he sold Pilot to put up his portion of it. I don't see him writing a check for $2 billion to build a brand new stadium.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
No. But
Jimmy didn't get to where he is by spending his own money on everything.
That's exactly right.
Well, that's a whole other thing. But anyway, Jason said earlier that he thinks now that he didn't think at one point they were going to put a roof on a new building. Now he thinks they will. Do you agree?
I mean, I would have said no. Now I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
I mean, if the stadium was going to stay downtown in the vicinity of where it is, no, they weren't going to do a dome. They were going to do a renovation. But if that runs into a barrier and they have to rethink this whole thing, then I would say anything is on the table. I wouldn't predict a dome stadium. I don't think that they are thinking that big because how much would that cost?
$2 billion.
Yeah, I mean,
but wouldn't that create more events and other? I just think
so. You get a Super Bowl maybe once, and you get a couple Final Fours, and
I think the fans would prefer it. I know there's some.
I would prefer it.
Yeah, I mean,
some of these games get windy and cold.
Yeah, it's awful.
My personal opinion, just my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't think they were ever serious about renovating that stadium. I think that was posturing, I think it was them being able to throw up their hands later and say, well, we tried. We
The
did our
Browns?
Yes, the Browns. We did our due diligence on this. I think the stadium is crap. It's a really big pig, and there's not enough lipstick in the world to fix it. And you certainly can't put a roof on an existing building that's never been done. That's a stupid idea that will never be done.
No, that's not it. You'd have to rebuild the whole thing. That's why I never thought a dome was viable, even if it did make sense.
Right. Unless they move somewhere else. Let's talk about something else, Jake, because we were talking earlier about, all the coaching changes, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Are you surprised by any of this? Did you see this coming? Because it didn't seem like the type of season that they needed to make all these wholesale changes on the offense.
I was a little bit surprised, not by, some of the moves were not surprising. Stump Mitchell was not surprising to me.
Okay.
TC, I don't think he had a big enough role for us to be surprised either way. AVP was a tiny bit surprising to me. I didn't see that coming. He's really, Jason would probably agree, very well thought of in that building, not only by players, Deshaun included, but by other coaches. So, and he didn't technically get fired. They were going to demote him and give him an option to stay as a running backs or tight ends coach, to which he said, forget that. And obviously, he's above that at this point in his career. He's the play caller for the Patriots now. So I was a little bit surprised that it's gotten to this point, gotten this big. But, I knew that if Callahan's son got a head coaching job, he was probably going to go. Right. I thought they might make a change at running backs coach. But the fact that it's gotten to this point where the entire staff is going to be new, and maybe, Chad O'Shea, his closest friend on the staff was AVP, and they still need a receivers coach. They still need a bunch of coaches. So may not be done. It's a completely new offensive staff. And given the kind of season they just had, it is surprising. But when you think about it, what does this all come back to?
Deshaun Watson.
And he wasn't part of the run they had late in the year. And when
not.
he did play, it was like this all over again. And it can't be like that if this team's going to be a true Super Bowl contender.
That's fair.
Do you think, since O'Shea and AVP are really close, do you think it'll be in a scenario where AVP is like, hey, I offer you a position on the Patriots staff?
Yeah.
And you think he'd take it?
It's not his to offer, but he would definitely recommend
Yeah, recommend it, yeah.
O'Shea was in New England a decade before he was in Cleveland. I don't know. I don't know what he's going to do. That would be something to watch out for.
It wouldn't shock me. All right, so looking at the Browns team defensively, everybody's talking about we need to get these wide receiver too, but I want to look on the defensive side of the ball. Opposite of Miles, do you think they bring back Zadarius Smith, or how do you think they address that other defensive end spot?
I think we're kind of in the hamster wheel again, where maybe they bring him back, maybe they look around. If they get wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 1, then maybe they don't spend a lot of money at defensive end. If they strike out everywhere at receiver, maybe they're like, well, let's spend some more money defensively, get a bigger defensive end, or another player defensively. I think it just kind of depends what opportunities are there. But going into this offseason, receiver, from everything I've heard, is the priority. Now, it may not happen this offseason. It might be next offseason. But in the medium short term, that's where they're looking.
And Andrew Berry, obviously, you can't believe what he says in a press conference. He said, oh, no, it's not the biggest priority, but obviously it is. And you're saying you're hearing that. I mean, do you believe they'll be aggressive? Because there's a lot of, number one or at least borderline number one free agent wide receivers here. Now, probably Pittman will get franchised, and I think T. Higgins will get franchised. We'll see. They should if they can't sign him. But guys like Calvin Ridley, Marquise Brown, Mike Evans.
Mike Evans would be the name to watch, I think.
Okay, really? Mm-hmm. Even though he's not, they're looking, obviously we've been talking about a speed guy. Mike Evans is not really a speed guy at this point in his
career,
but he's a great player.
He produces. So he's kind of like Amari in that way, where and Mike has probably, Amari's been, healthy until the last couple of years, and even he's played through injuries, but that's a reliable, he's older, but again, time is now. But you think they're going to be aggressive after that group of guys? Yeah, and I don't know. So, like you said, what if T. Higgins gets tagged?
Yeah.
What if Pittman goes back to Indy? What if Ridley, re-signs with Jacksonville? Or, and they don't. They might not be able to offer the most to all these guys, right? Like, they're pretty tapped out. I mean, they're the most expensive team in the NFL. They have cap space because of the way they've manipulated the salary cap. But They were the most expensive team in the NFL this past season. They're going to be the next season, probably the year after that. So there's limited resources to what they can do. And I don't know that they have the scratch to make a big trade. I mean, receivers are going for 2 first-round picks. They don't even have one to trade. And that Amari Cooper deal that they made, I mean, like that might be the best move that Andrew Berry has made. They got him for a 5th rounder right before everybody was going for 2 first-rounders.
Yep.
And Amari's a Pro Bowl player.
Well, where would they be at that position without him?
Sunk.
They were probably thinking by now they could move off him, but they haven't been able to develop anybody else at the position, so obviously they got to keep him.
David Bell was their number 2 receiver, basically going into the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
Because Elijah was banged up. Yeah. Tillman had the concussion. Marquise Goodwin never got going. Who else am I forgetting, Jason? I mean, they just never.
No, that covers
it. DPJ.
Thankfully for them, David Njoku became a Pro Bowl top 5 tight end in the NFL, which I didn't see that coming.
Not to this level.
When they extended him, that was a home run contract as well. So they have enough, but as we've seen in the AFC, you're probably going to need more.
You think they restructured Deshaun?
I think they're going to do it every offseason until the end of time.
Hey, listen, there are plenty of bad things to say about Jimmy Haslam. I've ripped him 1,000 times.
He spends.
The one thing you can say, he spends a ton of money. He don't care. I'll give him 100%.
They would not be able to do what they've been doing.
No.
They can't. You wouldn't be able to do all these contract restructures if the owner was like, I can't pay, the highest salary in the NFL for a team that doesn't even win its division.
Not to mention they convert a lot of that to signing bonus that's due right now.
Yeah.
It's like the NBA equivalent of like they're a luxury tax team, but they're not, a top 4 or 5 team in their conference like the NBA.
We were talking earlier in the show about, we really hadn't talked about this before today. What do you do at tackle? Because now you basically have 3 starting tackles if Jack's healthy. Yeah. Jack and Jed, what do you do with DeWand? Our concern was if you put DeWand on the bench, he's going to be 400 pounds. Can you trust him to stay disciplined?
Kind of think Jack is the odd man
Even
out.
with that salary, you think?
Or that could be a guy they could, try to move on from.
I was saying the same thing. The contract is pretty big. I guess if he's healthy.
I don't know off the top of my head what his. Do you know what his
dead money?
His dead money.
I got it right here for you guys.
Yeah, they can't cut him. It's like $28 million.
Yeah, he's owed $27.5 million in dead money. His cap hit this year is $12 million.
Jed was playing pretty well before the injury. It was kind of a low key development. He really turned a corner for about a month there. It was like the San Francisco game until when he got hurt. Jed played really well. I imagine they're going to leave him at left tackle, and I don't know. I don't know what they do. It is tricky.
How much do you think? How much do you credit to Jed, DeWan, or Bill Callahan? Because he's gone now. So do you think that production continues to go the same with Dickerson?
I don't know. Bill Callahan was a top 3 offensive line coach in the NFL, and we never talked about their tackles late in the year because they were fine. They were
serviceable, yeah.
Yeah, they were they weren't great, but you didn't notice them getting beat. And their schemes have always been really good in the run game.
Yeah,
I think it's a big loss. It's not like they're not going to be able to. Joel Bitonio's still an All-Pro.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens with Teller, but they've got enough to be good. But it is a loss, and you're going to really feel it when they have these injuries. And it's like Michael Dunn's out there and Blake Hance and. They don't miss a beat.
Yeah.
I don't know that it's going to be like that.
It's interesting, too, because, we mentioned the tackles, but Wyatt Teller was like a 5th-round pick, and he got traded to the Browns for nothing.
7th rounder. That was John Dorsey, I believe.
Right.
Was Dorsey.
No, but my point is,
because they missed on the other
Bill
guard
Callahan,
that he drafted.
If Wyatt Teller would have just stayed in Buffalo, maybe he would have never been this player.
Yeah, Wyatt Teller definitely developed. It's a great point.
Yeah.
What do you think about the running back after Nick Chubb? Obviously, Nick Chubb is...
Well, is Nick Chubb first definitely going to be back?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, 2 things with Nick Chubb. When is he going to be back?
Yeah.
I think he's going to be back in Cleveland. I think they're going to figure it out.
Okay.
But when is he back? Don't think it's going to be for week 1. And then when he gets back, what does he look like?
Are you comfortable with Jerome Ford again?
So I think that they will draft a running back.
Okay.
They should.
I think 3rd, 4th, 5th round, somewhere in that range.
Oh, they're going to get Blake Corum.
Yeah, they're gonna.
No, he'll be drafted for the 3rd round, though.
I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to test that well. But I think when I look at Blake Corn, the reason I say that is because he is kind of like a Kareem Hunt in a smaller body. Very good short yardage. He does not fumble the football, and he converts and scores touchdowns on the 1 or 2 yard line.
I could see Chubb at least initially being the Kareem Hunt back, being kind of the short yardage.
Hunt's gone, right? They're not bringing him back, are they?
I don't think they bring Hunt back.
No.
So you have Pierre Strong, you'll have Jerome, you'll have Chubb, and then you would have this hypothetical running back from the Sun Belt Conference who probably would be more than serviceable. You know? Seems like every year there's a running back out of the Sun Belt who can play. I thought Chubb, that week and a half before he got hurt, was the best he had ever looked.
He looked phenomenal.
He was averaging more than 6. I thought he was going to run for like 1,800 yards if he'd stayed healthy. He was unstoppable. It was such a shame he got hurt. And I'm just, he's getting older, same leg.
He is. The only reason I feel like I think of him like I thought of Adrian Peterson. If anybody can come back
no doubt
great from it, it's Nick Chubb.
No doubt.
Nobody's going to outwork him.
No question. But it's going to be tough. And I don't know. Now, could Chubb get back and be a 1,000-yard rusher again? Sure. Is he going to be the same player? That's going to be tough.
It is tough, yeah.
With the second-round pick, what do you think they do with it? What would you like them to do?
I mean, again, it depends, but I wouldn't rule out wide receiver again.
That's exactly where I'd go.
Yeah.
Now, do you think they draft one, or do you think they try and trade for another receiver? Like
Elijah Moore. Again, it depends. So, let's say they sign Mike Evans, right? Then I don't think you trade that pick for a receiver, but you could still draft him.
Right.
I mean, they were low-key depleted at receiver at the end of the year, and even the guys that were hurt, I don't know what to make of Cedric Tillman. I don't know what to make of Elijah Moore. I don't know what to make of Marquise Goodwin. It's not like other than Amari, you had someone super reliable that was consistent that you could really count on. And I thought Elijah started to come on late in the year when Joe Flacco took over, but then he got hurt. It was hard to really evaluate where he was.
I know Tillman was just drafted last year, but David Bell and Elijah Moore, do you think they're both locks to be on the roster next year?
Locks to be on the roster. I mean, I wouldn't call them locks, but probably.
Probably.
Yeah.
All right, last thing. Getting back to the coaching, we'll wrap with this. Obviously in the press conference, Ken Dorsey was asked about play calling. Stefanski preemptively, before you guys could ask him, said we haven't decided yet. The wind seems to be blowing that Dorsey's going to call the plays. It also, there's been rumors that this is being forced on him. Do you believe it's being forced on him? And do you think Ken Dorsey will call plays?
I think Stefanski has enough juice in the building now that they can't force him to do anything.
Okay.
I mean, we're talking about Coach of the Year probably, maybe twice in 4 years.
Yeah.
Deservingly so. I mean, what he did this year with the different quarterbacks and the injuries was outstanding. He's going to be the medium to long-term coach of the future here in Cleveland. But I think that had Alex Van Pelt stayed, they would have just gone status quo. The fact that they made the move has given them the opportunity to reevaluate, and I think that's what's happening right now. But I am with you. It does feel like it's trending toward Dorsey calling plays. I think they just have to work through it. Dorsey had only been there just a few days before that press conference. I think they're gonna talk some more. But if you ask me where I would bet today, I would bet that Ken Dorsey is the play caller. And this is not an indictment on Kevin, because I think Kevin's a brilliant play caller. It's just that the system that they want to run is not Kevin's MO. He doesn't come from 5 wide RPO, whatever they're going to do. And, it's just been choppy with that. I don't know that that's necessarily Kevin's fault, but I think they're just trying to get some different ideas in here. Again,
interesting. That's
why they made the move initially. They're trying to get Watson to – this is a huge year for Watson.
No doubt.
With Dorsey,
make or break.
With Dorsey coming here, does that make Gabe Davis more attractive?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't want anything to do with Gabe Davis.
I'm just saying because his offensive coordinator.
Gabe Davis is Elijah Moore 2.0.
So that's the only reason I bring it up.
And is Stefanski
Stefan Diggs.
That's what I'm saying. They act like it's crazy
anytime soon?
I think it'll happen. It's just
all right.
whenever. Yeah.
Should happen already.
Good stuff, Jake. Appreciate you.
Now, if they wait till after Thursday, pricing's going up. If he wins that second coaching,
if you're Kevin, you're probably like, well, let's see if I win this. I'm not in any hurry to sign the extension.
All right, Jake. Thanks for staying.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
That is Jake Trotter.
Thanks, Jake.
Make sure you follow him on Twitter at Jake_Trotter. Always a pleasure having Jake in here. A reminder tonight, 5 o'clock, Earl the Pearl, the Ultimate 216 show, makes its debut. If you're not watching, the question is, what are you doing instead? Nothing better than what Earl has to say, a little sports culture mix here. And it is happening at 5 o'clock. You check out all of our Ultimate spin-off shows on our YouTube channel. They have individualized playlists. And speaking of Earl the Pearl, he's going to join us real quick with a Black History Month update and spotlight. So, Earl, who we focusing on today?
All right, what's good, UCSS? Today we are going to spotlight Sherman Jocko Maxwell. So in 1929, Sherman Maxwell became the first ever black sportscaster. He began at 22 years old at WNJR in New Jersey. Throughout the 1930s, interviewed many of the biggest stars in sports. He was also the public address announcer for the Negro League's Newark Eagles and would go on to become a prominent scholar on black baseball. Despite his many accomplishments, there were many times when Maxwell was not paid for his work by white broadcast outlets. So today, we put the spotlight on Sherman Jocko Maxwell.
I have not heard. I had
Never
not
heard
heard of
Never
Sherman
heard of him either.
Good pull.
Maxwell. That's a good one. And
He wasn't getting paid. Oh yeah, it's a lot of stuff that happened back in the
messed up,
day. What? You ain't gonna pay me? Yeah, okay.
I'm trying to remember the name of the broadcaster. There was a guy. If you saw it's based on a true story. If you saw the most recent Jackie Robinson movie, 42, there was a guy who the team basically hired he was a media member to cover Jackie Robinson, and they became friends. And I can't think of his name, but anyway, he'd probably be an interesting guy to highlight too. But anyway, that's cool that not cool that he didn't get paid, but it's cool. We give him some recognition.
Great tribute
that most people didn't know.
And Earl's going to continue to do this. We're going to try doing it daily here on UCSS. It's definitely daily on his Twitter account, so if you're not following Earl, make sure you guys tune in. You'll learn something. I've learned something. None of us knew who Sherman Jocko Maxwell was before today, so you'll leave a better person listening to Earl the Pearl.
Oh, I know. I got his nickname now.
Yeah,
Jocko.
Jocko. His nickname Jocko.
That's your homework, Earl.
Yeah, that's my homework. You might catch it on the Ultimate 216 show tonight.
All
Who
right.
knows?
Awesome. 5 o'clock. All right, guys, you guys ready for a little No Fence Riders Cavs mid-season edition?
Yes, let's do it.
Let's do it. None of these are unanimous, by the way. None of these are unanimous. We have a six-pack of questions. As you guys know, No Fence Riders, it's a yes or no answer. No middling. It's definitive. And let's get to it. First question. Will the Cavs make any type of move, any type, before the NBA trade deadline at 3 p.m. this afternoon? Bull and Jay said yes. The rest of us said no. Jay's not here, so Bull, tell us why you think the Cavs make a move.
I'm changing my. I assumed they would do something minor on the back end. Because you want as many good depth pieces as possible in case there's some injuries in the playoffs. So I assume they do something to improve their 11th, 12th player, whatever it is, to have a good veteran in those last spots. But Jason made the point before the show that he thinks they're more likely to do that in the buyout market. So because after he talked to me about that, I'll change my mind. But
you could go get a big on the buyout market, possibly. And I don't have names because we don't know who these guys are going to be yet. You could find I think a backup point guard is actually a position of need.
Right.
Because I haven't had one all year.
Well, what about a third center in case of injury?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Big.
Well, you might need one. You need two because the other one is what's he on? Horse what? What y'all call it?
Horse vitamins?
Yeah, he on horse vitamins.
Well, do you guys want a couple potential buyout candidates?
sad.
Actually,
Who you got?
I found an article yesterday. Someone sent it to me. This is from Spotrac. So Keith Smith. Are you familiar with Keith? Jason?
Never heard of it.
I have no idea who that is.
Well, these are just potential buyout guys to keep an eye on. Andre Drummond.
He was
ain't
here.
coming back.
Yeah, I was say that's not
He
happening
ain't coming
again.
back. Well,
Evan
I
Fournier.
shouldn't say that, but I would be surprised.
Who?
Yeah.
Evan Fournier.
We just talked about him.
high draft pick.
I wouldn't actually mind that very much.
He's a point guard, right?
Yeah.
Combo guard. Joe Harris.
Great shooter.
What happened to that guy? Why is he not playing? He's not playing.
Fell off.
Great
this year, right?
shooter.
Lost the shot.
He's had some injury problems in his career. But
How is he? He's not playing a lot this year, is he? Mike?
Joe Harris is not playing a lot this year, no.
I couldn't even tell you where
He's on the
he is.
Pistons.
He's on the Pistons?
He's on the. I thought he was still on the Nets.
That's got to be miserable to be a veteran on the Pistons.
I would take Joe Harris back at a second.
Yeah, why not?
Couple more names. Kyle Lowry for your veteran backup point guard.
How old
Jason,
is he?
championship experience.
I mean,
37.
he's fine for a backup point guard.
Well, that's what we're talking about here. You know, we're talking about guys who are not going to play
right
much.
now. Donovan is your backup point guard right now. Really, with Darius.
Isn't he their point guard technically?
Well,
in a way?
But Craig Porter Jr., as great as he's been, he's not going to play playoff minutes for you, and maybe none of these guys that we're talking about will. But if really what you need is someone possibly for like end of the first quarter, start of the second quarter, like 4-minute stretch. End of the first quarter, into the second quarter.
Kyle Lowry's perfect.
He'd be fine for that. He'd be fine for
playing 8 minutes a game.
Yeah,
that's stealing. That'd be stealing.
Yeah, I'd be okay
Just
with
2
Kyle
more
Lowry.
names real quick. Patty Mills, another veteran point guard who has championship experience, and a guy with maybe the most upside of all the candidates. Always hurt, never know what you're getting with him. But Victor Oladipo, who's another combo guard.
That guy was an all-star, and then he's barely played since then.
Because he got
Can't
hurt.
stay healthy.
Yeah, he gets hurt.
I mean, again,
I would. You know what? I would actually circle that one because Dan loved him coming out of the draft.
Victor
really?
Oladipo.
Dan loved Oladipo.
I'd take Victor
he's still,
Oladipo.
when he's been healthy lately, he's been serviceable, right?
For what his role is, yeah.
Didn't he just get
Can't
traded?
rely on him, but
He didn't get. Where is
I feel
he?
like he's been on a million teams the last few years.
yes.
Is he with the Rockets right now?
He was with Miami.
He got traded for Terry Rose. No. Where? Yeah, he got traded for Terry
Where
Rozier,
in the
didn't
world is Victor Oladipo?
he? Is he in Charlotte now?
He's on the Grizzlies right now.
Oh.
You named about 8 teams, and you didn't get the one he was on.
All right, next fence rider question, number 2. This is a simple one. It was a 4-3 split.
Yeah.
Are the Cavs one of the 2 best teams in the Eastern Conference right now? Bull, Tyvis, myself, and Earl all said yes. Jason, G, and J, not buying.
See, let me tell you why they're wrong.
Because they're going to say the Bucks.
Well, but here's the thing. The question says
Right now.
Right now.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And they've won 17 of 18.
15 of 16.
15 of 16.
Yeah, I know, but I still put Milwaukee and Boston above.
Certainly
the
Boston,
Cavs.
yeah.
And Milwaukee, I think, is going to be just fine come the playoffs. I said earlier today, I think I kind of view the Bucks
1-4 in the last 5.
Yeah, but I kind of view the Bucks as sort of the Chiefs, where we kept saying all year, "What's the matter?"
Yeah,
with them?
no,
And
it'd be
then they go
stupid to
Super
count the
Bowl.
Bucks out.
I mean,
And-
they got literally the best player of all time.
All right, whatever. But a Giannis Dame combo in the playoffs, like they're going to have trouble guarding teams. And Mike isn't as high on the Bucks as I am.
Why?
Because
can't guard a lick.
They can't stop anyone.
But,
right.
But the Bucks are a better matchup in the playoffs for the Cavs than the Celtics, right?
Yes.
So
That
Don't
sounds
the Cel-
crazy to say, but
So-
I would agree with that.
right now it feels like it's between the Cavs. We'll see. I mean, the Bucks too, but I think we're all assuming that in the end the Bucks will finish as the 2 seed. Maybe I'm wrong, but it would be huge for the Cavs to be the 2 or even the 3 versus being the 4.
2 is more important. 2 is huge.
Yeah.
2 gets you a play-in team
Right.
rather than
Right.
the 6th seed.
And home field,
And
home court in the
court.
second round.
Now, the one wild card, I think we mentioned this the other day.
Miami.
Well, I was thinking, say Philly.
Oh,
If
I guess
Embiid
either
comes
of
back,
those
because
two
they're
teams
gonna
take
they're gonna
credit.
go down the tubes now,
Philly's
right?
going to slide.
Yeah.
Philly's going to slide a little bit.
They're done.
The worst thing the Cavs, I won't say worse.
Well, if
It
not,
would
if
be-
Embiid's not back,
No, he'll be back for the playoffs.
you sure?
Yeah, I think he will be. And if
We got to play the
if
Knicks
you have to
again.
catch Philly in the
Oh,
first round,
that would suck.
That would be a bear of a matchup in the first round.
Will they drop? Could they drop all the way to? Well, I guess it depends where the Cavs end
Yeah,
up.
the Cavs are only a game out of 4.
Yeah, right.
Like all those teams are real
Yeah,
tied in together.
The
you know-
Knicks is that close too?
Oh, they're
oh,
all
the Knicks are right there.
Yeah,
Knicks,
they're all bunched
Knicks are
up.
the hottest team in the league besides the Cavs.
And by the way, so Philadelphia is in 5th right now. They're 8.5 games back, 3.5 of the Cavs. They're only 2 games ahead of the Pacers for 6 and 3 games ahead of the Heat for 7. So that's all a jambalaya.
I mean, they could
Philly
easily
could fall into the play-in.
They've been terrible without Embiid this year.
Yeah, Philly could easily fall into the play-in.
Yeah.
But if they have Embiid, I like their odds of getting out of the play-in.
When they're the play-in, the 2 does the lowest seeded team play the 1 no matter what
no,
seed
so
it is?
7 plays 10, or 7 plays 8. Winner of that gets the 7 seed.
Oh, that's right. I forgot
and
about
then
that.
the loser plays the winner of 9 versus 10.
So, in theory, if the Cavs ended the 2 seed,
Could play Philly in the first round.
you got to hope that Philly drops all the way to 9.
And I'm scared of. Listen, they could beat Miami, But Miami's got some sort of wonky
Yeah, well, they got the best coach.
I would not feel comfortable having to play I would pick the Cavs. I'm just saying they got some sort of voodoo magic.
Is Spoelstra the best coach in the NBA right now?
I think he is.
This is sad that we sitting here and trying to duck and dodge to
No, that's all right.
That's sad.
By the way,
I'm just saying.
We're just circling the.
But the question was, are they one of the best two seasons? If we got to sit here and talk about
yes.
ducking and dodging, how can we say
you're fair.
yes?
You're fair. No, listen.
That's why I said no.
You're right. You're right.
I should be saying. We should all be saying
it's a fair point. But it's right now. It's not who's going to be the best team at the end of the year.
Right now, I still think Milwaukee's better.
By the way, Thibodeau deserves credit because they're winning with a bunch of injuries too.
Yeah. He's a great coach. Tibbs is a great coach.
But he always wears out his welcome eventually,
He
right?
grinds his guys into dust. He burns hot and fast. He'll be gone in a couple of years.
They're a big team.
That's why they were such a problem for the Cavs last year.
All right, next one.
But the Cavs are a better team. And one last thing real quick.
Who did they play?
All right, well, I'll do it later. Go ahead, Mike.
Before we go to the next one.
They played us. The Knicks.
The Bucks,
They
right?
lost to the
Heat.
They lost to the Heat.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike.
Once again, I said they're top two teams. I'm not scared of anybody. I think the Cavs could win. I'm just saying, in a perfect world, you'd much rather not face those teams in a playoff scenario.
Yeah, in a perfect world, you're playing Indiana in the first round.
You would love to play Indiana in the first round. Question number 3. Will Evan Mobley attempt 75 three-pointers by the end of the season? I did the math for you guys. There's 33 games left. That is 2.3 threes per game. Will he attempt 75 by the end of the regular season? Myself and Jason said yes. The rest of y'all said no.
I hope you guys are right. I
was guilted into this. I had to. I'm the one saying I want him to shoot 100.
I do too, but
I would love for him to, but I think it's going to be nice where he don't shoot a three at all.
After last night, I feel a little bit better about because I
still only took
two. I know. And
you said he needed to shoot 3, right?
Oh, he took 3. Two. Yeah, two and 3 points.
He needs to shoot 2.3 to average out to exactly.
Right. He's only shot more than 2, I think, twice this year.
But I do think as they go in more, they're going to start going up more too.
Probably right.
So this is the one I feel least comfortable about. But after the last week and a half I've had of saying Evan Mobley needs to shoot more threes, I can't come out here and say no, he's not going to get to 75 when I've been advocating for 100. So I don't know if it's going to happen or not. I feel least confident in this, but
okay.
The good thing about shooters, and that's going to lead us to our next question, but when you start making shots, it seems like you get more shots. Your teammates are more willing to pass and make an extra pass. If Evan Mobley wasn't comfortable shooting and Donovan Mitchell has a decent look, him taking a decent look over passing to an Evan Mobley who's not going to shoot that kind of falls out of what you can do. If Mobley's confident stepping up and shooting it, the ball's going to find him open on the perimeter.
That's a good point.
Now it's up to him to shoot with confidence, step into the shots, know you're going to make them. And if he does that, 2.3 per game, in my opinion, is not crazy for the amount of opportunities he should be able to get. So.
Mike answering that question just like a point guard would. He's thinking like a point guard.
Right.
Go ahead, Mike.
Next up, I want to tell you guys, before we bring this up, Steve, don't take this. This was a 4-3 split. I'm actually mad at the 3 people who said no. Just telling you, I'm actually mad at the 3 people who said no because it's a disrespectful answer. The question is, will Sam Merrill finish the season shooting 40% or better from 3?
Oh, I think.
And I'm just tell y'all right now, Jason, Bull, and Jay all said no, and I am actually mad at you guys. That is insulting to the world's single second best shooter in the history of the universe right now.
behind.
Why would y'all think that
Behind
he
Evan
wouldn't?
Mobley.
Well, he's shooting
I
what?
think you say behind you.
No, I can never shoot.
And he's
as
shooting
well
like
as Sam Merrill.
44%.
He's shooting 44%.
That's a
44
really high
right now.
clip to keep up.
Here's why I thought
He ain't gonna shoot. He ain't gonna keep shooting it like
Here's
that.
what I thought. He's playing less. He's going to get less shots. He's going to be in rhythm less. And he's not going to make as many. You look at his three-point percentage the last 2 years when he didn't shoot much. He was terrible.
I said for the exact opposite. I said he ain't gonna play a lot when he get in.
It's going to be hard for it to drop that much.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I mean, yesterday he was, 1 of 3, I think?
1 of 3 yesterday, correct.
It's gonna be really hard. That's like trying to bat 400 in baseball all year
gonna
long.
shoot
it's
2.
really hard to keep it.
He
at
gonna
that high of
shoot
a
2 and go
percentage.
50%.
It's
for the rest
way
of the
harder
year.
to bat 400 in baseball than hit 40%
When's the last
on
time?
three-point.
When's the last time somebody? Well, I mean, Steph. Yeah,
so
yeah,
Shot
you're right.
40% from 3?
How many people have hit 40% from 3 in the last 10 years?
A lot. You guys are out of your mind.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But
Let him know,
I mean
McNuggets.
for him, a guy of his caliber,
All right,
to shoot at 40%.
All right, right now there are 45 players shooting 40% from 3 in the NBA.
Oh, my God.
You know who leads the I'll read you the top couple. Grayson Allen leads the NBA in three-point percentage. He's shooting 5 threes per game. He's shooting 49%.
Malik Beasley.
Aaron Nesmith, second in the NBA in threes. He's shooting 46%.
By the way, isn't that a sign that it's time to move the three-point line back?
No.
All right, here, let me just read you the
I think I should take out the corner 3.
That I'm more in favor of. Let me read you guys, of the 40 players who are shooting over 40% from 3 on at least 3 attempts per game. So we're taking out the guys who are shooting 1. We'll run through this real quick because we got a little bit of time. I'm taking out the stars. So like Durant's on this, Kawhi. These are just non-stars. Grayson Allen, Aaron Nesmith, Malik Beasley, Luke Kennard, Norman Powell, Sam Merrill, Doug McDermott, Lonnie Walker, Marcus Sasser, Gary Trent, Isaiah Joe, Cason Wallace, Dante DiVincenzo, D'Angelo Russell, Sam Hauser, Naz Reid, Dario Saric, Emmanuel Quickley, Trey Lyles, Josh Green, Jamal Murray, Alex Caruso, Jeremy Grant, Derek White, Aaron Holiday, Alex Burke.
These are all the non-stars.
God!
There's like 6 guys there I never heard of.
For him to do it, though, I think it's going to be really hard to stay at that level. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think I'm going to flip-flop. I didn't realize it was so easy to hit 40% for these guys.
I'm telling you.
I'm flip-flopping again.
He's at 44 right now?
He's at 44. He's
So
currently
he's gonna have to
ninth in
shoot.
the NBA.
He's going to have to shoot probably because he's going to shoot less. He's going to have to shoot like 33% the rest of the year to be under 40.
He's going to have to keep shooting at a really high clip to stay in the rotation, or he's out.
That's true.
Which is also why if he falls out of the rotation and he's over 40%, then
he's just going to stay there probably. He's not going to
that's
play
true.
garbage time.
That's
But
true.
also, Sam Merrill is a flamethrower. Like Sam Merrill, I mean, he wakes up and shoots 50% from 3. Sam Merrill backwards shoots 50% from 3. Sam Merrill with his left hand shoots 50%.
So far, he's got
He's getting some CWP right now, Mike. Let's be honest.
What's CWP?
Come on.
Something white.
I'm sorry. I meant CWH.
Yes, I was going to say, CWP makes no sense.
Makes no sense.
CWA.
Crazy white hype.
No.
He just said, man, I just wish I could have played like Sam.
Why do you always have to make it about race? I'm joking.
It's always.
Shut up.
All right, next one.
Go ahead.
So Earl the Pearl is not sitting next to us. He leaves a little early on Thursdays because he goes to therapy at 1 o'clock and then comes back, does a show. So he's not sitting here, but this was a question because something Earl said earlier on the show got caught up in the Cavs Twitter sphere, and I was hoping he was here to defend himself, but he's not. Number 5. Will Darius Garland be a staple in the Cavs' crunch time lineup by the end of the season? On Monday, Earl said no, but he's changed his answer. The only one that says no now is Jay because he's not here. Oh, no. Anthony, you screwed that one up royally.
Yeah.
Absolutely royally. Only person who said no on this answer is Jay. Anthony totally botched the graphic here. Anthony, terrible job out of you.
Anthony's got sick brain.
So the real answer, ignore what the graphic says. Everyone said yes, but Jay didn't answer, so I put him in the no.
Jay's
category.
prisoner of the moment.
Jay didn't answer, so Mike put him in a no.
Oh, he didn't answer?
Jay did not answer, so I put him in the no.
That's great.
He skipped that one.
Oh, okay. I mean, he was in the closing lineup yesterday.
He better be in the closing lineup.
Of course he will be.
Darius is definitely going to be. Like, you don't really have a choice. Who else is the other? What's your
The
other
people
option?
that say Jay probably would have said no because Jay and Earl are the 2 most prisoner of the moment guys on this show. G is kind of also. He's prisoner of the moment also. But the 3 of us are the least prisoner of the moment people. And so we all said yes because we know that he's one of their best players. So, of course, he's going to be in the lineup down the stretch.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out who you putting in there outside of him.
Yeah, no. Nobody.
I mean, their best 5 right now does not include him, but that doesn't
Right.
matter.
Yeah.
But it better by the end of the year.
Yeah.
That's when it matters. All right, Mike, next.
All right, last one. And this one, it was not unanimous. Anthony got this right. I double-checked. So, Anthony, bad job last time, good job this time. And I'm going to ask the second part of this question. So, the question is, will a Cavalier not named Donovan Mitchell score at least 35 points in a game before the end of the regular season? Jason, G, Tyvis, myself, and Earl said yes. Bull and Jay said no. So, Bull, tell us why no first. For the yesers, including myself, let's talk about who we think will be the player to score more than 37 points.
Well,
Bull, you're up first.
So, my thought is that even though scoring is obviously way up and there's a lot of great players scoring more points than ever, 35 for most players is still not easy. It's not common. The only person I thought had a chance to do it would be Darius Garland. And how many times has Darius Garland scored 35 in his career?
I'll look it up one sec.
I mean, what would be your guess, Jason? How many times?
Quite a few times.
That's who you picked to do it?
No, I'm saying nobody. I don't think he'll score 35.
Are you saying he's the only person that you think could do it?
Yeah, I mean, is Mobley going to score 35?
Oh, it's Karis LeVert. He always do it once a year.
He could get hot.
LeVert
I think he's going to do it once a year.
The way the Cavs are playing, they're moving the ball around and being unselfish.
Yeah.
Donovan, who's clearly the best player, is the biggest volume shooter on the team. Everybody else, and even Donovan, is moving the ball. They're a more balanced team than ever.
Assists. Donovan is.
What's that?
Averaging a career high in assists.
Exactly. So I just look at them as a more balanced team, and there's less chucking going on than there was in the past. And so I don't think anybody else is likely to do it. What do you think?
Darius. I think he's going to have a breakout. At some point, he's going to have a breakout game.
Yeah.
He has 6 in his career, by the way.
Darius or
So Darius only has
Karis
6.
LeVert.
That's not a ton.
How many years has he been in the league? 3? 4?
But it's not like it's a sure thing.
But I think he's going to have a breakout game.
But he could score 29, and that's a breakout game, right?
Yep. So I guess he better get 6 more.
Tyvus, who you got? Darius
or Karis LeVert. Those are the two.
Mike, who you got?
I think LeVert has a he's the hottest. When he makes a couple shots, he's going to go for 50. Like he's going to go for 50, but he's looking and playing like he can score 50. Garland only has to make a couple threes. Niang got close. He had 34 in a game this year. Jason and I were at the Bucks game when he didn't miss a game. Max Strus could get red hot. Sam Merrill could make 12 threes in a game.
Night.
I mean, there are chances. Evan Mobley.
Sam Merrill?
If he goes 12 for 13 from 3, then yeah, there's a chance.
Come on now, Mike.
I mean, Evan Mobley, if he keeps shooting threes, he had 22 on not 10 shots. He had 28 against San Antonio.
Big jump from 22
not
to
completely out of the
35.
realm.
And you said over 35, so that means they got to score 36.
That is true. My best bet is Darius Garland, excuse me. I'd put second on Karis LeVert. And third, Max Strus is due to have a game where he makes 9, 10 threes. I'm serious. He's coming out of
What's Max Strus' career high in points?
Max Strus? He's had a couple of big games.
Yeah, I don't know.
Didn't Donka hit
Pedonka? Who?
I meant to say Luka Doncic, and I said Donka.
LeVert's career high is 32. Not LeVert. Strus.
I was about to say, no.
So you're saying Strus, he's never done it his whole career. Now he's going to do it?
I ain't
Let's make it one more 3.
I wouldn't put him.
No, he'd have to hit more than that because you got to score 36. You said over 35, didn't you?
Well, yeah, he's going to get fouled.
Realistically, it's 2, maybe with a potential of 3rd. The 3rd potential is Evan Mobley.
Has Evan Mobley ever scored 36?
Yeah, he had 38 against the Rockets last season.
So he's one time he's done it.
That's what I said. It's 2 that I know can do it, and it's a 3rd and a potential 3rd.
Jared Allen's career high is 30.
Evan scored that 28, and he looked really good. He could have kept going.
All right.
Evan Mobley had 38 twice, actually.
Really?
Against the
All right.
Bucks.
Hey, listen, it's cool if they do. I just look at them as a balanced team that's not going to do that.
Know your Cavaliers.
I do think also with the Cavs, and then we're going to talk about some other trades that have happened, by the way, because there are some big non-Cavs trades that affect the Cavs in a sec. The way they made 23 threes against the Kings on Monday.
Yeah.
If they shoot like that, they just have a game where they catch fire. One of these guys could just be a breakout. Like Niang scoring 34, came out of the blue. No one saw that coming.
All right.
So, all right, some trades, by the way.
Yeah.
The New York Knicks acquired Bojan Bogdanovic.
That's what I thought that said.
From the Detroit Pistons.
Bojan. It's Bojan.
Bojan.
That's what I thought that
and
said.
Alec Burks in they traded Quentin Grimes and a bunch of second-round picks, but he is another
Alec Burks had
6'8".
been there. Wasn't he originally there?
He's a throw-in.
Yes.
He's a salary match. Bogdanovic is a good shooter.
Yes,
but they traded Bogdanovic and Burks for Quentin Grimes, Malachi Flynn, Evan Fournier, Ryan Arcidiacono, and 2 second-round picks. Which
was Grimes? Did he play much for them?
Yeah, Grimes was their starting 2 guard.
They just did the Knicks a favor. That's crazy.
But it just gives them another 6'8" wing who can shoot.
Man, they are a huge team, aren't they?
If they're all healthy,
yeah,
they go Jalen Brunson, who's a small guard, 6'8" Anunoby at the 2, 6'8" Bogdanovich at the 3, 6'9", 6'10" Randall, and 7'1" Mitchell Robinson. That's a giant,
massive.
And then
supersized
And
team.
they bring Hartenstein off the bench from 7
Hartenstein off
feet.
the bench. They still have Josh Hart, who may be a starter. He's 6'5", 6'6".
Yeah, he can play any position.
Yeah,
and then 2 years later, they're going to have
The Knicks-
That's a big team.
They're really good, the Knicks.
The Knicks are matching up with Boston, I think. That's
exactly what that move is.
they're just trying to match Boston size for size.
The Knicks are good.
They are good.
They're a good team. It's going to
When
be.
do we play them again?
The Knicks schedule, I'm pulling it up right here.
I don't know that they go back.
But the Cavs, you know what? But the Cavs are good too.
March
Yeah, they are.
3rd, by the way, in Cleveland,
Yeah.
March 3rd.
I don't think they go back to New York. I think they're done. I think that's it.
That's the last game in Cleveland, March 3rd on ESPN, nationally televised game.
I just get
Get
me.
your tickets now.
I have come around.
Game time.
And I'm enjoying the season.
You're watching
but
every game now.
I'm still looking forward to the playoffs the most. I can't wait to see.
Sure. Yeah.
Because it'll be good. I mean, it's pretty competitive. I mean, Boston's obviously the best team, but they're not unbeatable.
Why would the Pistons do that? That's
Because they got off salary. They
But still, that's like
shed salary.
that's like
I don't understand.
They're like their
Cap
best
space is not
player.
worth what it used to be worth 10 years
Yeah.
ago in the NBA. So I don't understand.
Well, why wouldn't the Cavs have made a similar trade? Would that have made
Well,
sense?
they don't have the money to match
Oh, yeah. All
say,
right.
without moving key pieces.
We in a pinch because you got to give up something like
Yeah.
that. You
So, what? Any other interesting trades, Mike?
The Hornets sent Gordon Hayward to the Thunder.
What does he got left in the tank, Gordon Hayward? Do we know?
Not a ton, but he's on a last year of his deal. He's a veteran, and he's a
Yeah.
pretty good shooter, facilitator for the second unit for them. They gave up guys who weren't playing a lot. They gave up Trey
Right.
Mann and Davis Bertans. The
Yeah.
Raptors traded Dennis Schroeder to the Nets for Spencer Dinwiddie, which is essentially just a money-for-money move.
Yeah, who cares about
Thad Young is coming to the Nets with Dennis Schroeder.
All right. Who cares?
Anything else big scrolling through the timeline?
Nothing.
The Wizards, big deal. Daniel Gafford to the Mavericks for Rashawn Holmes and draft compensation.
Why would you even mention that trade?
Although
Daniel Gafford was kind of kicking Jared Allen's ass
Daniel
for a while
Gafford could
last
play.
night.
Daniel Gafford could play. The Sixers traded Daniel House for a second-round pick in part of that Knicks Pistons swap. The Jazz sent Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji, former Cavs pick, who was traded in part for Donovan Mitchell.
Would Cavs fans cheer for Kelly Olynyk if he were on the team?
No.
Well,
I think they would just
because of the Celtics.
not
They
boo,
hate
but
Kelly.
not cheer. They hate.
Kelly Olynyk ripped Kevin Love's arm off.
Cleveland
that year.
fans
I was
feel-
at that game in Boston, by the way. That's the first NBA
Oh,
game
really?
I was
ever
at
got to
that game
cover.
in Boston.
Look,
Were
you
you
guys
really?
could have known each other.
Of course I was. I was a beat writer.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I was interning for Fox 5 in Boston, and it was the
beat
first game.
right.
I
We were proud in the locker room together. Didn't even know.
Well, I was in the Cavs locker. Oh, I'll tell you the Cavs locker room story. After
You like
this. I
you
can't
like
say it on
being a
air.
beat
You were in the
writer?
Cavs locker room after the game?
Yeah, I saw something on my eyes I'll never forget.
Oh, boy.
After game one, when Kevin said it was a dirty play, you were in there?
The game where he got his shoulder ripped out. Yeah.
Oh, we were totally in the same room together.
Look at that.
Yeah.
Small
Or
world.
pass crossed early. But yeah, they traded him to Toronto for Kira Lewis, Otto Porter Jr., and a first-round pick.
Cavs fans feel like Kelly Olynyk cost them a championship.
Yeah.
We'll
He
never
did.
forgive him for
Yeah.
that.
He did.
And last one, we talked about the 76ers earlier. I know
Yeah.
you mentioned this quick, but Buddy Hield has been traded from Indiana to Philadelphia for Marcus Morris, Furkman Korkmaz, and 3 second-round
You just
picks.
love reading those trades. It's kind of me with baseball trades. You love it.
I
Because
do.
most
do.
of those were
Did
not
you-
worth
I do.
mentioning.
Did you say that the dude from the Grizzlies, the big center, got traded? That shoot?
Sandy Aldama? No, Simone Fontecchio.
Yeah.
of Utah.
Fontecchio
got traded
Fontecchio.
yesterday.
Got traded yesterday.
He got
Yeah.
traded yesterday.
Fun.
We got some super chats we're going to get to.
Okay.
Let's get them. We got a bunch. We didn't have any the last couple of days. We got 5 here today. First one comes from DB Dog 21. Let me change the super real quick. DB Dog 21 says, Berkshire Hathaway now owns 100% of Pilot Travel Centers. In a separate transaction during 2017 and 2023, they paid a total of $11 billion, acquiring the final 20% on 1/16/2024.
Yes.
That's a
He's
lot
got-
of bread.
A lot of money.
$11 billion.
That's a lot of bread.
Jimmy could pay for the entire new stadium
God.
himself and not affect him at all.
You know,
Disgusting.
that's
that
too-
public money should have to go into
That's
that.
too much money.
Nobody should have that much money. Nobody.
$11 billion. That's.
And we have people living on the street
kids,
in
kids,
tents. People living on the street in tents, Jimmy.
Kids.
And nobody cares.
Won't have to worry about nothing. That $11 billion.
Disgusting. Oh, and you know his kids and his grandkids they got to be douchebags probably.
Swimming in it.
Come on. That's
All
not
right,
fair
next
to say,
one
but
comes
they're
from our guy
probably spoiled
Charles
brats. Go
T.
ahead.
Charles T said, if Cleveland doesn't split the cost of the stadium.
I'm sorry, say that again. I was laughing at Tyvis.
Charles T said, if Cleveland doesn't split the cost of the stadium, can we be made if Haslam moves and build whatever he wants? I'm going to read that again.
Say it one more time.
I read it. Charles, you may have to look in the chat if Charles answers, because I'm not sure that made sense. If Cleveland doesn't split the cost of the stadium, can we be made if Haslam moves and builds whatever he wants?
Keep moving it on. They can't move out of Northeast Ohio. That's the bottom line.
Okay, I think if Cleveland doesn't split the cost of the stadium, can we be mad, not made, can we be mad if Haslam moves and builds whatever he wants? Also, for people saying they won't pay taxes, you will end up paying super high ticket costs.
Super high
Can you
what?
be mad
Ticket costs.
if he leaves Cleveland and builds
Well,
what he
it's
wants?
not the same people. The people paying taxes in the city of Cleveland are not necessarily the same people buying tickets.
The benefit, the reason Stan Kroenke went and built the whole thing himself is because nobody can tell you what to do.
That's right.
When you don't have public funds involved, you do whatever you want.
That's right.
So there is a benefit to doing it yourself.
Yeah, Jimmy, do it yourself, buddy. We got people living on the street. There's people homeless. There's people hungry. Don't take tax money. I know you will, but go ahead.
Next one comes from Sly. Sly says, if G was here, he'd say Amani Bates over 35 easy.
He would, and he'd be wrong. Has Amani Bates gotten 35 in the G League?
He's averaging 27, so I have to imagine.
It's only funny because he 1,000% would say.
I mean, 100% true.
And you know what? There could be a game on
End of the
April
season.
9th.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Jordan McRae had a game like that.
That's right.
When LeBron was here the second time, where McRae played the whole game. He was dehydrated. He had to be carried out of the locker room, and he scored 40 or 50.
It's like fan night, when it's supposed to be celebrating the fans, except none of the good guys play, so the fans are getting screwed. And maybe you see some slappy hit a million points.
We got two more. They're both trade deadline thoughts. Matthew Dinkus says the Cavs can trade Evan Mobley. Bill Simmons said so. Shrug emoji. And Dinkus then said, and this we'll react to. We got 4 minutes to react to this. Matthew Dinkus says, trade Darius Garland for players and assets and trade Evan Mobley for Cade Cunningham straight up. Let's win ourselves a championship.
Is Cade Cunningham like that?
Championship. That's not going to win you a championship.
Is Cade like that?
Yeah, how good is Cade Cunningham?
He's on a horrendous team.
That's what I'm saying. Is this like the Colin Sexton thing?
He's better than Colin
He's
Sexton.
better than Colin Sexton. He's just on a
He's
horrendous
been
team.
injury prone too, hasn't he?
Yeah. What do you
They're
think
not making wholesale changes like that. We've talked about these trade. We've talked about trading Darius and trading Mobley. They've brought him back. They're still playing well. Maybe you found something here with Mobley shooting threes.
Darius has struggled this year, but he's played in 25 games.
Yeah,
that's it.
That's not a trade they're going to make 2 hours before the deadline. So that ship has sailed.
All right, that was it for overtime. And we want to apologize, actually. We made overtime private, not for members only. There's a little confusion on the production side of what setting it has to be in for members only for overtime. So yesterday's overtime, we talked about our favorite movies. It's a private video. No one ever saw it before.
I like that you're taking the hit for some, it wasn't your mistake, but you're taking the hit.
I am the head of production, so I will fall on the sword.
Before we close out, do y'all know anything about this Kirk Herbstreit and Dylan Raiola stuff?
I saw the headline.
I'm reading about it right now.
Who was that second person
Tell
you
us.
mentioned?
Kirk Herbstreit. Dylan Raiola is a top recruit.
Dylan Raiola was like the top quarterback in the 2024 class. He was committed to Ohio State.
I got to pee. Make this quick.
Flip went to Georgia, flipped Georgia, and went to Nebraska.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was telling a story over his recruitment that Kirk Herbstreit was one of the guys that kind of influenced him to go to Nebraska, which if you work at ESPN, you cannot do that. Mm-hmm. And since this has come out, Kirk has not addressed it publicly, but he's had other people try to address it for him.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, why would he do that? Why would you?
By the way, I'd rather talk about different colors of paint than talk about college football recruiting. People go nuts on Twitter. We got this great recruit. Who gives a shit? I don't care. Why do people get so worked up about this? The guy's just going to leave after 1 year anyway now. Who cares?
That's true.
If you don't play.
We got this. The Buckeyes are killing it in the recruiting game. Yeah.
They are killing it in the recruiting game.
Part of the reason I had to get off the college football beat was that I could not get into recruiting. And
it's creepy.
All recruiting now.
And now all these high school stars, they act like a bunch of dopes when they put their hats. This one guy the other day had like 4 different hats. He's pretending, maybe I'm going here. And maybe I'm going here.
They're kids.
And maybe you should shut the hell up.
Wait a minute. You get one chance to do this.
No, you look like a fool.
You do what you want to do.
But that's how I feel.
I mean, at 18, we all look like a fool at 17.
You got to make
I was a total asshole when I was 17.
So you would have done
it. And I would have done an asshole move like that.
So what are you talking about?
So, doesn't mean it's right. And by the way, now that they're getting, hey, guys are making money, which I'm totally okay with. They could transfer 1,000 times, and I don't care. But now they're open to us busting their balls.
I will say, when I was in Texas,
that's false.
The number one thing that got the most views out of anything we did was when A&M signed a recruit or A&M was hosting.
And that sums up why Texas is shit.
He was in College Station.
And let them secede from the union. If Texas would go bankrupt in 10 seconds without the red states in this country get more handouts than anybody else, like Texas. And Texas, nobody needs you. You're a lousy state. So get the hell out of here. Go to Mexico.
Oh, I agree. We could annex Houston. Screw Houston.
Dang. You like their food, though. They press box food.
Nah, screw Houston. I'm off Houston.
Yeah, screw Texas.
After the whole stadium thing, I'm done with Houston.
That was so
Stadium
funny.
thing.
All right, we'll see you on overtime. What are we talking about on overtime?
The Cavs let Ricky
Bathroom
Rubio
habits?
walk away, and now he's back playing.
No, I don't want to
basketball
talk
for a
about
different team.
I don't want to talk about that.
What do you want? You want to do the movie thing that no one
I
saw?
don't give a shit about Ricky Rubio. Who cares?
That no one saw.
I love that I'm cursing a lot in this last 5 minutes, and I'm having fun.
I watched Griselda. I finished watching
Griselda.
the whole thing.
Was that good? We'll talk about Griselda. I don't know what we're going to talk about.
Peace.
Nobody cares about Ricky Rubio. Oh, my God.